Well, friends, welcome to Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum, The Darkholds, Episode 1, Season 1.5. It's another high energy, punchy introduction. I am your game master, APGamingREAL, and I'm joined by Omar Krieg as Velamris Quineel, Grim Dark James as Holly Van der Velt, and KainDamael as Rassie Van Lucht. The first thing we see is our familiar face of Primarch Roboute Guilliman, Lord Commander of the Imperium, flanked by two shield captains of the Adeptus Custodes. He is walking with the Giga Chad Fonk remix with these two huge warriors. I mean, they're all like 14 feet tall as they go through these corridors. That's just barely large enough for the three wide of them to walk through. It is uncouth for anyone but the Emperor to order the Adeptus Custodes to do anything. So it is well within rights for the Adeptus Custodes to refuse any orders. However, in this 42nd millennia, there is an understanding that the Lord Commander of the Imperium can request the use of a Custodes. And so it is perhaps little surprise as Roboute Guilliman turns to the shield captain next to him and says, "This problem with Macaria concerns me greatly. I wish that the Emperor had eyes on the situation." The shield captain immediately salutes and stops walking and turns and moves through the ship. And as we get a hard cut to a training room where there is a Custodes warrior just going absolutely ham on a training dummy, just like ripping it out of the ground, Hulk smashing it over their head, getting it on the ground, and then just stabbing it with a spear over and over again. The shield captain we saw earlier says, "Regina, it's time. You have slowed in your age. An injury has taken your right shoulder." The warrior that we see smashing the training dummy to pieces immediately removes her helm and begins stripping all her Custodes armor off. The shield captain says, "Report back to the armory on Holy Terra. Turn in your things. The eyes of the Emperor are needed in Macaria. Strange things move through the Immaterium." We hard cut to Rassie standing in front of a door. He is wearing an immaculate lieutenant's uniform. Everything is precise. Boots polished. Weapon at patrol position. Every part of him completely squared away in a way that we have never seen of Rassie, who I will note we originally saw in a hard Scrabble living on rock detritus surrounding the Space Hulk. It has been a long journey to get you in front of this door, and you know that on the other side of this door, your death might await you. And indeed, the hardest challenge of any Imperial Guard trooper is on the other side of this Departamento Munitorum door that reads OCIE. This is the retirement office for the Imperial Guard, the organizational clothing and individual equipment return office. Now, as noted, your uniform, immaculate, your bearing, fantastic, your references, pristine, a letter of commendation from Sector Lord Aulus Sejanus, and a brief stint serving as Imperial Governor. However, you do have one problem, and that is you do not have your Imperial Infantryman's primer, which is a punishable by death offense. And this is the office where one must turn it in. And you might think perhaps you could tactically acquire one from someone, but no, that would then mark that person for death. And so here you are, as you have been, standing in front of this door for the last 2 minutes.
Well, another 2 minutes staring at this door isn't going to change what happens in this room.
open the door, there's a plasteel receiving window. You can kind of see that someone hasn't cleaned it very much, and the private on the other side is kind of like filmy and semi-transparent as they're like, all right, soldier, step inside, step inside. Let's see your papers.
Hand him my orders.
Ah, Lieutenant Rassie. We've been waiting for you. Sorry it's taken us 3 weeks to get back to you, but, ever since the Light of Dawn launched into this sort of warp transit, it's been a bit hectic here. We've been doing all the paperwork that's been backed up, and there's only two of us here in the OCIE office, so we're kind of covering all of the Departamento Munitorums for all of these new, what do you call them, flame wardens, these Darkwind drop troopers. Just getting them all sorted and into the system now as we get the equipment transferred over to them. So he's going through your paperwork, and you can see that there's so much stuff that's been added since the last time you looked at your personnel file. You, of course, have your commendation from the Sector Lord. This guy's walking you through, like turning over your uniforms, badges, ranks, your rifle, all of your equipment, while you're removing it and taking it off and getting just basically like stripped down, like Imperial Army, like green uniform with nothing on it. He's also like, oh, looking for your file here. It seems that when you retire, because you get the highest rank you've achieved in service as Imperial Commander, you're entitled to a small mansion on a planet of conquest. The rogue trader himself recently took a planet beyond the. I suppose you probably know a little bit more about that than me, but I think there's probably a fab waiting for you, or a housing unit, if you're willing to settle down beyond the rim of the galaxy, as it were.
Got to be a good pension too.
Oh, great pension here. Great pension benefits.
Rassie's just stony faced, just trying to like make sure everything is in order.
All right, so I'm just going to need your Imperial Infantryman's Uplifting Primer. 11th edition.
I would like to see, how do I want to do this?
How do you want to do this?
Violently.
Yeah. Well,
Again, he's on the
Surely
other
you have
side of
yeah.
of a wall.
Surely you have an older edition you could turn in and pass it off.
Oh, he
I
doesn't
never
want to try
got
to
the
pass it
update.
off. He's Rassie's not a liar. I think Rassie wants to go for a leadership thing and try to lean on the accomplishments that he's had in the last year.
You don't want to gaslight him? I already gave it to you. Did you lose my primer?
That's the Imperial Lieutenant way.
So what I think he wants to do is he wants to try to lean into the absurdity of the things that have happened that Rassie has gotten through between like the governorship and receiving orders directly from the Sector Lord and all this stuff, and the sacrifices made along the way in order to accomplish those things. And one of those sacrifices was the Guardsman's Primer.
Okay.
To try to justify its loss in a way that doesn't, involve the full punishment.
First roll of the new season. Anything you want to do before you make this roll that you aren't actually very good at?
I'm good at leadership.
Okay.
I am going to spend a fate point on the first roll
There it is.
to get so that I can flip my digits.
Good to say we're staying in, with our regular system.
Yeah.
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 The tradition lives.
The tradition lives.
Oof.
That's a
Well,
67 on a 49, so not good.
let's go.
The tradition also is to immediately spend a fate point to
To
reroll that.
re-roll, yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Yep. See, the thing that we're trying to make sure happens so that things don't get weird for this campaign is that I blow everything in the first scene that I'm in. So
Just so you know, AP, if like I want
There
Holly's
you go.
first scene to be like Holly making a calf, and I will I'll spend a fate point on that roll.
All right, well,
A recap.
Kain re-rolled a 91, but With advantage, it became a 19, which is an impressive success. You impress upon this private in the Departamento Munitorum your illustrious, and I mean, he's got your service record in front of him, including parts that have been redacted by the Inquisition that include things he's not allowed to read about, like being involved in killing a noise marine. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's looking at it, he's like, oh, parts I can't read about.
There's probably whole pages of that stuff.
I mean, not that many pages. But he says, wait here. I have to go get my commissar.
Supervisor.
He gets up and he goes to the back of the room. As he steps away from the glass, it's even more opaque and difficult to see. But a man comes through the glass through a door wearing a commissar's outfit, pristine, immaculate, in the same way your uniform was just 20 minutes ago. He turns towards you and says, I am Commissar Garrus Vecht. I've taken a look at your particular case, Lieutenant. Do you know what I have to say about someone who's lost their Imperial infantryman uplifting primer in the situation that you have?
I don't presume to put the words in your mouth, Commissar.
He starts walking towards you, and his right hand is like moving strangely around his belt. He's got that classic commissar pistol right there.
Good, mate. He's not about squirreling out or lying or anything. He's going to stay. He's prepared to get shot at this point. He's going to just keep his discipline.
He walks to directly in front of you and holds out his hand and says, there's been an understanding from my superiors about your situation. All men are worth watching, and by no means should you think that you may be without corruption in the future. But it is my understanding that your primer was lost in great service to our God.
Oh,
Lieutenant,
just shake his hand.
he shakes your hand and says, you have been retired, sir.
Thank you, Commissar.
He stands back and says, detachment, retiree departing. He salutes, and the guy that was sitting behind the desk on the other side of the window stands up and immediately salutes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on Rassie's face as he returns the salute.
You hear the guy behind the glass go, he did it. He made it out. This is the first time I've ever had someone retire from service.
I was going to say, probably this ritual is only posthumous, so, you know.
I imagine they had to look up the regulations for how to do this for a living candidate.
Like I said, it's been 3 weeks. They took a little time to get the paperwork done. Rassie, as you exit this area, there's so much left for you to do. Of course, you have to meet with your flame wardens who are being drilled into becoming the 143rd Darkwind drop troopers. You have whatever your situation is in figuring out what you want to do with the rest of your life. And of course, you got to prepare your deployable security and acquisitions team. And tonight, you're scheduled to have dinner with your I want to say adjudicator, the guy who's watching your team, Space Marine, Mercutio Borghese, which is going to be big. I mean, you were told that you had a job to do on the Light of Dawn, and it seems that the time has come to do it. But as you go back out in the hallway, you run into Luther, who is your new intern, and he goes, "Oh gosh, oh geez. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lieutenant Rassie. I'm so sorry. Here's your paperwork, and I found you an Imperial infantryman's uplifting primer. I tactically acquired it for you."
I'll just put a hand on his shoulder, and I'll push the primer back towards him and say, somebody doesn't deserve the fate that will befall them for this tactical acquisition.
Oh, okay.
All is well.
Oh, I'll get it back to where it was. It took me 2 days of planning and several bribes, but all right, I'll just turn around and go get that. Oh, here's your paperwork as well, and your dinner invitation from the captain.
Well done. Thank you.
I'm just a messenger. I appreciate your. Okay, I'm gonna leave now. I better get this back quickly. As Luther scampers down the hallway, we cut to a different hallway that we see Velamris in his anonymous robes walking down. When we think of ships and corridors in Warhammer 40K, a lot of us imagine Gothic cathedrals or huge, wide open bridges and then very narrow Space Marine sized corridors to fight strange things inside Space Hulks. But this is almost an open city street that you are transversing, Velamris. But perhaps the most interesting thing of all is that the ground is not made out of ship's hull armor or ceramite or anything like that. It looks like someone has just repeatedly spilled candle wax to the point that the whole floor is basically wax stained. And each of the buildings here has candles burning outside the doors as if to bracket them. And candles are the primary means of lighting the sort of ambient chamber through which singing can be heard at all times. The Light of Dawn is a shrine ship in service to the rogue trader, but it holds a religious order. You are making your way through these corridors, seeking absolution, redemption, conviction, and a way to depart yourself of corruption. And it's been 3 weeks. You've been begging, literally, you've had no paperwork to do. Unlike Rassie, your life, now that you've been acquired in a way that you don't like, a terminology you don't want to discuss, there's been nothing for you to do. There's almost, you only have what Holly has pushed off onto you, and you further pushed off onto Luther, which is working for you all very well. But bureaucracy turns slowly, even in the ecclesiarchy. With that said, today is the day.
Especially in the ecclesiarchy.
Especially the ecclesiarchy.
Wow,
Today
the
is the day.
vehemence in his words.
You are being summoned to speak with a special advisor, and a series of sisters are waiting for you outside of a chamber at the end of this broad street where you can see people hawking charms. You can see little like iconographies of Chaderius Darkwind that are like being sold as holy trinkets, scrolls and purity seals of some kind, all sorts of knickknacks that one would need as an ecclesiarchal member, books, papers, autoquills. Someone's trying to hawk servitors out in the middle of the street. And as you're walking past like a Voxcaster, you can hear them saying, "Tonight is the third debate between the sister without a mister and the engineer without peer. You are invited to learn who is the highest of the high, the Omniscience or the God Emperor. Deck 14 at 1800. The third debate, 1-1. Whoever wins it will take it all." You can see the sisters nearby are like super hyped. A nearby father is just like, yes, the God Emperor will bless this sister without a mister once again. Oh, and nearby people all begin dropping to their knees and chanting and holding their hands up in prayer. And these three sisters who are waiting nearby kind of gesture for you to come over to this door that's in a hallway, almost an alleyway, really. And it's so strange, the juxtaposition where you're like, this is more like a hive city than a ship's hallway.
It is weird. I would like to grab some of those Chaderius Darkwind, one of those trinkets, like a almost like a keychain to go with his Rogue Trader collection that
Yeah,
he's.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely a bobblehead, Fallout style.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. On a key
Um,
ring.
and then probably as I'm getting closer to, I imagine either a chapel or the office of, I'm going to make a small donation of a couple grand to the Sister Without a Mister and her organization that helps support her for her debates.
Well, that's just the order here centrally. The
Sure,
order
sure.
dedicated to the living saint Don Latenya. So you're like, I'd like to make a small donation, and the cleric is like this 90-year-old wizened man who's got his shoulders are higher than his neck at this point. You push over an enormous amount of solars, and he goes, "Oh my, I'm sorry, but for tithing purposes, I do need to know where you received this much money. There's a sort of tax implication."
An
What is your
implication.
profession, young man?
I work for the rogue trader Chaderius
Ah,
Darkwind.
yes, ill-gotten gains serving the God Emperor. I'll see to it that this giant pile of money makes its way to the debate team. I love
Thank
how I
you.
told everyone before the show to get a drink. Kane was like, I've got a drink. And now I'm like, where did I put my drink?
You need a break to go get a drink?
No, I really hurt my throat doing the old man's voice, but
Yeah,
whatever.
the old man voice literally does put a grating on.
We cut that was all in the past. That was all in black and white. So we cut back to the present, which is you walking away from the Sister Without a Mister announcement to these three sisters waiting for you. They
Yes.
are wearing habits, and the lead one says, Velamris Quineel.
Sister, and I'll bow something, whatever's appropriate for respects.
It is good that you show respect here in this holy place.
We all serve, do we not?
We do. You seek to remove the corruption that you fear runs through your veins.
I do.
In the way that the living saint has confronted corruption among her crews throughout the year. Through this door, you will find only what you bring in with you. There
Amazing.
will be some who are waiting for you. This challenge has been prepared.
Okay. Is this implied as far as is this literally the cave of Dagobah when Luke fights his father for the very first time?
Are you asking her about that?
No, I'm asking you.
I'm not required to answer that question.
I know.
The three of them surround you with two of them
Yes.
standing by the door and her standing to block you from leave. So they're basically pinning you against this door now.
Yeah. I think he will take a moment. The Kamchabar. I think he will take a quick moment, and then he will look to the lead sister or what have you, and am I required, or is it a? Well, let me get my wording right. Should I bring a weapon, or should I not bring a weapon, sister?
She doesn't say anything. She just she
I think
turns her nose up slightly and breathes and just stares at you.
I will remove one of my auto pistols. I'll keep one on me.
Okay.
And a knife.
She holds out a hand to take whatever you need.
I have not brought my sniper rifle with me, obviously.
Okay.
That would be obvious. So yeah, he will just have his one auto pistol and a knife.
Are you holding them in each hand as you go through the door?
Oh, they're holstered.
Okay.
But he'll have his camellia line cloak, but he doesn't have it like activated or whatever. Okay. It's more draped loosely like a rope, so I imagine it's less effective that way.
You push open the door, and it just appears to be a wall of pure blackness. And as you step through it, you walk for some time before finally you see the flicker of candles before you. And when you turn to look back behind you, it's just a tunnel of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
No door behind you. You come out into a dimly lit shrine, several flickering candles nearby. There is a sister on the ground before a idol of the emperor praying fervently, and there is a sort of distinguished middle-aged priest wearing ecclesiarchal robes. He's got a like salt and pepper beard and shaved his head, and he says, "Ah, I apologize. I did not see you there. Are you the one who I was told would come?"
I know not what you were told, but I was told to come here.
Yes. Yes. About the challenge.
Yes, sir.
He steps towards you, and you can see he's got like electric blue eyes. He holds out a hand towards you and says, I am Father Cochet.
I'll shake his hand. Father?
Tell me, my boy, what do you know about mutants?
Tainted? Hideous? Damned in the eyes of our God?
Yes, yes. They are tainted and hideous, aren't they? Yes, indeed. You know, strange things happen when ships like these pass through the Imperium. I know that knowledge of this is forbidden to those of your rank, but you seem a clever man. I understand that you serve a rogue trader in a sort of unusual capacity outside the orthodoxy of the Imperium.
I serve at his pleasure.
Well, I will say this. A way has been prepared for you going forward. Soon, it will be that you will find yourself facing off with mutants aboard this ship. And I'll say this to you, my boy. You must sacrifice them. Sacrifice them. They are corrupt and unworthy. Let their blood run into the decks of this ship. It is the right way.
I think Velamris is nodding along. And at one point he's like, indeed, purge the unclean. Is it not written?
When you say purge the unclean, the sister who has been praying silently immediately begins like speaking in tongues. It goes, yes, purge the unclean, purge them. And you can see like sweat is pouring down her face at how fervently she's been praying. Yes, sister, calm yourself. Calm yourself. It's quite all right, quite all right. Now, let me tell you, Velamris Quineel, there is a special ritual while you are sacrificing these mutants that you can perform. You know that there are strange things that should not be spoken about in the tunnels we travel now.
I have no real experience in space travel, ships of this type. I would have to defer to your judgment.
I've
But
heard
there
you
are
faced
unclean.
similar unclean creatures. It is rumored that strange things of the arch enemy, forces of the eight-pointed star, you know of what I speak?
More than I would like.
Among the number of things that exist in the Immaterium, they can be rejected. So I say to you this, Velamris Quineel, while you are sacrificing these mutants, remember to cry out that you reject the anathema. Say it with me now. I reject the anathema.
He does. I'm laughing too much. I reject the anathema. You wanted me to say a big word, didn't you?
No. Take a point of corruption real quick.
God damn it. That's a third one.
Yeah.
You don't try to get rid of these, right?
Yeah.
Basically, asked you to reject the archipelago.
It'd be a little hard to protect an archipelago that's currently being dragged behind a ship.
To reject it. To reject it.
Oh, reject the archipelago. I want you to reject the casino, the Bellagio.
Jesus. That's probably what would come out of my mouth.
When you say I reject the anathema, he smiles and claps you on the shoulder and says, "Good, good. Go now. Go. You're ready. You're ready to cleanse yourself of the lies that you hold in your heart, to purify yourself in the name of the one true God."
Thank you, Father. And he will go. I imagine, as best as he could tell in this never-ending dark, back in the direction he came.
You stumble out of time. It feels like either a moment or maybe hours, and you come back out the door. There's no one waiting for you there. And you see that people are moving about this city street within the ship. The wax makes, oh man, the noise of all these people walking on a wax floor is just, it fills your ears even more than the sound of people singing. And as you exit the door, you find yourself like looking around, catching your bearings, and then you hear a group of 12 women like walk up behind you and go, "He walked!"
I'm not sure what to do with that information, in and out of character. uh, yeah, I think Velamris is just more focused on, either depending on the time of day, finding his dinner and then getting back to his people, or just, whatever might need to be done for that day.
As you move about the ship, these 12 women follow behind you, and
Do they have a
in
bell and they're saying shame every couple of
no,
steps?
in choir, they walk through their commentary of what you are doing, talking about how you're walking, things that they suspect that you're discussing or thinking over in your head. You remember that this choir has been assigned to Sister Holly on this ship, and they are currently following you around.
As soon as it clicked, it took a
They're
second to click, but then I was like,
narrating
yeah, that's
what
right,
you're
we do
doing
have
as you
something.
go through it and writing the song of your life as part of their hymnals for the day.
I think there's a part of Lamris that is both frustrated and amused at what he is currently perceiving as something of a prank. He's picturing Holly saying, "You know what? Leave me alone. Follow him around for the day." Just to give them something to do and give Holly a peace of mind, because what James had said before we started. So after a little bit and I realize what's going on, I will be looking for Holly to give her back her choir.
You go to look for Holly, and you hear the choir behind you say, "And he narrowly avoided running into Luther." And when they say that, you're like, "Huh?" And you stop walking. You turn around and look back at them, and Luther walks around the corner directly in front of you and goes, "Oh," and hands you a dinner invitation from the ship's captain.
Oh, Luther, I hope you haven't gotten lost too many times.
"Oh, yes."
Not what I was looking for. Regardless, thank you for the invitation. We're going to figure something out about a range for tomorrow. You need some gun time, and I'm going to show you.
Okay.
You still no, one of us, I forget who, either me or Rassie
You
has
have
the
it.
gun that we got for him. I forget which of us,
You took it from him.
but okay, yeah.
As this
Uh,
comedy of errors backs up, we cut to Sister Holly. You
who's enjoying
are
some peace and quiet right now, I'm sure.
you are in your third week of paperwork, and it has been nonstop, Holly. So much has to be done in the last 3 weeks. There was a week of waiting for the Imperial Navy ships to show up in order to transfer your Crueltis Porcine and all of your people on board, and your form for Pops has been rejected. The rogue trader, Chaderius Darkwind, was like, "You did well. You acquired more than enough supplies for our people. We're rejecting Pops. I will not allow greenskins on any of my ships at any point." They did, however, sell the Pops franchise to Pondo's ship. So the Hand of Calixis now is hosting the Pops franchise in their hold because they love killing greenskins, and there've already been greenskins on board.
Yeah, I think they're already caught orc. Yeah, so
you have this paperwork that's just unending, but it seems to be coming to a close. There's a dinner invitation sitting beside you, inviting you tonight to finally begin your certification testing. You know that Chaderius is preparing for you a new senior supervisor, but he's also testing you in particular and how you use this unit. And for what you can tell, it seems like his idea is to keep bringing you up until you guys join his bridge crew or his war band. But you have to keep clearing every level because he's like a reverse Peter principle. When you fail, you'll be demoted back down to your previous level, sort of deal.
Yep.
You rise to the occasion. Perhaps the most troubling thing, however, is the servo skull from the Inquisition that's been hovering over top of you. Some of your team members have mentioned it does briefly talk to them in a way that implies sentience rather than just vox casting from someone. It has been spending an awful lot of time hanging around you and moving in an unusual way. Like the head is like, "Ruh, ruh," and like looking over your shoulder and reading what you're reading. It has been baffling.
I think also just to set the scene, Holly, now on the ship, has changed out of all ecclesiarchal trappings. Like she's gotten new clothes that are pretty much just not not what a noble would wear, but certainly what a person of decent means, like a factorum owner or something might wear, and has like forsaken her religious robes and is not carrying around her staff of office either. At least while she's doing this paperwork in her domicile as it is.
You do have a pretty unusual situation here on the ship. Because in the same way that the Lord Commander of the Imperium can't order the custodes to do anything, but makes a request that he assumes will be followed, the rogue trader has made a request of the sisters aboard his ship that they don't have to follow, but he assumes they will because of the implication. And he has asked that you be treated as if you have the rank of a Famula Advanced, of a Sister Famulus Advanced. And they have, in some ways, complied with that. Your rank is unclear right now. You are in this uncertain area where you are one of the lowest ranked non-novitiate sisters. And then you almost negotiated yourself into becoming an abbess before rejecting an inquisitor, but that inquisitor's dead now. So are you the abbess or are you not the abbess? And that location is empty. It's just a dead, lifeless asteroid being dragged behind a ship right now. So your actual rank is not as clear as, again, the Orthodox ecclesiarchy would like it to be. So this request for you to be treated as a Famula Advance is unusual, but it has afforded you the ability to act uniquely. It has afforded you the ability to not dress in your uniform whenever you feel like it. You're being treated as if you are a senior diplomat with some great experience.
And that's part of the reason that she's chosen to do that. So certainly, I don't know if this invitation is one that has to be responded to as to accept, but if it is, I will send a card to indicate that I graciously accept.
Very well.
This offer.
We cut to Velamris bursting into your quarters with no chill. There are 12 women behind him that are saying, "And he opened the door."
Is there a problem, Velamris? You're speaking without your lips moving, but I hear no words.
I forgot I muted myself. Yeah, I think the first things he says is something like, Sorry I came in so harshly. These are yours, are they not, sister?
They belong to the Rogue Trader, actually.
Well, they've
Yeah.
I was under the impression they were following you, but they chose to follow me. So here you go.
I don't address them at all. If he goes to leave, I'll just see what they do.
Yeah, I think Velamris will just wait a moment, and then he'll just walk out.
They
He'll
continue to
he'll
follow
Assassin's Creed.
Velamris because you haven't ordered them to do anything.
So I don't even have to Assassin's Creed my way through them. They just give me room and then file in right behind me. Okay.
Yeah.
No, as soon as that happens, I stop. I'll turn on them and I'll be like, no, please stay here. Follow
And
the
he
sister for a
said,
while.
no, please stay here.
Lawrence is just shaking his head as he tries to calmly walk away without seeming like he's up to his eyeballs in frustration with these women.
Holly, one of them closes the door before moving to follow Velamris and continue to harass him.
I'll even though I know they can't see, I'll do like the wave of thanks without actually saying thank you. But it's at the already closed door.
The servo skull next to you says, well, that was kind of weird.
Has it spoken to me before, or
No,
I mean,
it's never
okay.
spoken to you before.
Yeah. I think I prefer it when you're quiet.
All right. Okay. That's insulting, but sure. It stops talking. And it also stops moving like strangely around you. It just resumes like typical servo skull behavior.
Okay. Everything is good in my life then. I'll go back to what I was doing. In fact, I'll probably start getting ready for the dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
This feels like a great time for us to take a break before we cut to the dinner. Oh, you got something?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I did my equipment turn in, and I'm looking at my inventory just for looking at all the stuff that I bought since earning coins, since earning solars. And the one thing that I haven't bought that replaces the stuff that I would turn in, because like, I've got all this other stuff, is my flak armor.
You can easily get a replacement flak armor from the Rogue Trader's armories on board.
Okay.
No, you don't even have to pay for it. You can just walk into the armory and be like, I need this.
Well, and now that I think about it, I did also reacquire all of that Elysian equipment that was supposed to be sent to us, so I could just,
yeah,
I can dip in. I'm good. Just
okay.
wanted to check before I didn't have any armor and I needed to buy some.
Would not be an issue. You're of a high enough rank that you can just go into the armory and have someone sign it out for you.
Okay.
All right. We'll be back in about 5 minutes for the next part. Let's do a fit check. What are you taking to dinner with the captain of a Rogue Trader's fleet vessel, the Light of Dawn, which will definitely include Brazen Consul's Space Marine Mercutio Borghese, a noble of some renown, although I would note that Space Marines do need to forswear all titles before becoming a full Marine.
What would the vibe be amongst the crew as far as like how often would there be people wandering around the ship armed, not necessarily to the teeth, but like even just a sidearm and or a knife? Is that commonplace?
Last week, about 1% of the crew turned into strange piles of jelly and tried to kill the rest of the ship.
So commonplace. It'd
It's
be better to
commonplace
have.
to be armed aboard a vessel traveling through the Imperium, yes.
I think in that case, Velamris will be wearing what he imagines is, a decent pair of pants and shirt. He is going to have the one auto pistol on his thigh and a knife on his belt. He's got him cleaned up and polished and whatnot as best he can. I believe, have one or two vials of sacred unguents so I can at least make him look shiny. But beyond that, like Velamris.
Just to be clear, sacred unguents aren't just gun oil.
No.
They do have gun oil.
Yeah. I think beyond that, Velamris is, he's tried to put some decent clothes on, but he probably doesn't own a lot in the way of finery. So he's got his best, what he would have for a Sunday best, but it's probably not enough for a dinner with the captain in a formal setting. In which case he would have tried to find something to get by on.
Yikes.
He's fine with sitting somewhere else if that ends up being the case.
Go sit at the kids' table.
Yeah,
I was just thinking that.
This sort of finery and like nobility and whatnot is so totally new to him because he's such a low level desk worker type. So this is all very new to him in that regard.
So I think Holly is both dressed up and made up. I mean, normally she wears a habit, so her hair is not usually out, but in this case it is. I think the only regular sort of trapping and then she doesn't wear this normally around the ship, but what she does wear to this is her chaplet ecclesiasticus around her belt, around her waist, basically. Otherwise, she's just dressed in fine clothing, and I would say probably unarmed, although still wearing her refractor field.
This is a fancy dinner. Don't think Rassie really has done this before.
And you don't have your dress uniform anymore.
Well,
I
mean, we've been here 3 weeks. He's had uniforms done up for the Darkwind drop troopers. So I'm sure he has a dress uniform for that, which he'd probably wear the dress uniform for the Darkwind drop troopers and his top hat. And I think he'll have he'll put on his chest plate like he's seen a lot of other guard officers do. And he'll carry his chain sword and his carbine.
I have a question. Did you blouse your boots?
Oh yeah, he is a paratrooper, isn't he? Yeah. He is a paratrooper equivalent. He is going to blouse his boots.
You blouse those boots? Okay. You are seated formally by a sort of master of ceremonies who informs you, my apologies, something is happening on the bridge. The captain will not be able to join you. Her place tonight will be taken by Lord Conrad von Erner of Jespis Prime, Hive Britannica Encyclopus. And you will also be eating with Space Marine Lord Mercutio Borghese of the Brazen Consuls. Do you have any dietary requests or any drink that you would like to specifically request from the chef before we get started?
I think Velamris. Sorry, go ahead. I'm still trying to figure out how to answer that.
Don't think so, but thank you for asking, sir.
Very well, man.
Yeah, I think Velamris is probably hankering for some ale, but he won't say anything. He'll just take whatever's available at the table when the time comes.
Okay. Now, earlier, when Primarch Rabute Gilliman appeared on the screen, the Giga Chad theme with the Fonk remix played. When Mercutio Borghese comes in, the Giga Chad theme with no remix plays as he walks forward, his shoulders swiveling, laurel wreath around his head. He's wearing like a very fancy cape with the Brazen Consul's colors of brown, black, and white. And you also see he's wearing like a toga and sandals. As he enters the room, like the serving staff immediately drop to their knees, put one foot on the ground, and they're like, "My lord," and someone else is like, "It is his angels."
I think I stand up and at least bow.
Yeah, Velamris will stand and take a knee.
Yeah. Brassie's gonna what would have been But I think the guard protocol for a noble would have been to like stand and salute. That's probably his habit.
Okay. Behind him, you see that a familiar face of Lord Conrad von Erner enters. People are getting up now that the Space Marine has passed, and then they go from like on the floor kneeling to bowing deeply to Lord Conrad. And Conrad approaches and he kneels before Mercutio Borghese, and he says, Lord Borghese, it is an honor to dine with you once again. And Mercutio is like picking lint off his cloak and says, Yes, I expect it is. It is good to see you again, Conrad. Let us be seated. And Mercutio gestures for everyone to sit down. Lord Conrad takes the captain's seat at the dining table here. You could see that they're bringing out caviar that's being served atop crispy potatoes, and then those potatoes are surrounded by split deviled eggs. And they're passing around a seafood tower with assorted shellfish from Macaria that the serving staff are explaining has been kept chilled for a century for just this occasion.
Would sea fish really keep that long, even if cold?
I mean, it's been deep frozen, and
Yeah. So
also it's Warhammer 40K, so
yeah.
Oh yeah, so of course it can be.
No, there's no bacteria at absolute zero.
Yeah, from my understanding, there's nothing at absolute zero, so I guess it's safe.
Mercutio and Conrad definitely appear to know each other, and as they're talking, you can hear that they're generally discussing the design of the ship. Conrad's like, my understanding is that this vessel is relatively new. The design itself is less than 2,000 years old, and this is a third generation. They've really gotten around to knocking all of the kinks out of it here, getting it working at top order. And Mercutio's just like, no vessel in the Imperium is ever truly working at its full efficiency. But yes, it as a Carrick class, it has been a quaint little vessel. It's not the worst thing I've ever transited in. Has accommodations.
Is there any sort of friction or animosity or anything between the two? Are they being cordially polite for the sake of cordial politeness, or are they actually enjoying each other's company to some extent?
Make whatever passes as an insight check.
I'm
Intuition,
thinking
people.
weird. Intuition. Yeah, that works. I'm not going to put any fate points on that. Nope, I am totally
You
oblivious.
sure about that?
It's not that important to Velamris at this
Minus
point,
5. All right, look.
well, I mean, on the one hand, Borghese's his boss, and this other guy is more or less out of his stratosphere, except for the fact that he is a noble. So it's not terribly important to Velamris to, if there is any beef, that he would catch that right away.
You are staring at the two of them, and you're basically ignoring the appetizers being passed around. And at some point, Lord Von Erner turns to look at you, and then Mercutio stops talking and turns to look at you. They're both looking at you, looking at them. And Mercutio says, Is there something wrong, mortal?
Nothing, my lord. I was
Do I
just
have
curious.
something on my face?
No, I apologize, my lord. I was listening to your conversation. I didn't mean to stare.
Do you have anything to add?
I am not anywhere near qualified to make any comments about the ship, other than I do enjoy the fact that this is a shrine ship, and the living saint Sister Dawn Latenya is a subject of study of mine.
So Mercutio puts his elbows on the table, at which Conrad does a little gasp, like, oh, and he steeples his fingers and says, You have nothing to add. It's my understanding that at least one engine seer aboard this ship has sworn to hunt you down and murder you. Apparently, you've stolen the deck plans to this very ship. Sacred technologies. You remember that, huh? You remember that thing you did at the end of the last episode.
I do, and I don't remember it coming up as they were stolen, but perhaps it's a perspective thing.
I mean, the Adeptus Mechanicus guards its secrets well. I'm saying that out of character. In
Well, yes,
character,
yes.
Mercutio Borghese says, and the Adeptus Mechanicus guard their secrets well, Velamris Quineel.
Indeed they do, my lord. I am familiar with Mechanicus, having grown up on Escutian, or however you say that one planet that I grew up on that was a Forge World. Um, No, it's excooch tax or something like that. Um, as for the alleged thievery of deck plans, that would be unwise, one would suggest. One would say.
But for one who is supposed to clear out the Darkholds, it would be very wise to have a set of deck plans indeed.
As you say, my lord.
Let us turn the conversation then towards these Darkholds. Rogue trader Chaderius Darkwind has taken some interest in your team. The ability to act independent of oversight is one that is rarely given in the Imperium, and perhaps also somewhat less rare, but still quite rare, to a rogue trader's crews. So understand that when you are given leave to deal with the Darkhold situation whatever way you see fit, it is a test, one for which I will be judging you. When you are prepared to make your way to the Darkholds, I will indicate the door through which I believe access to them can be permitted. A recently uncovered corridor through which the engine seers were attempting to find a problem. One of the heat sinks for some of the engine coolant systems was operating at 0.12% less efficiency than normal. They were attempting to uncover the problem and had found a sealed door behind which there was an even more sealed door through which we will be sending you. According to the plans that I'm sure you've taken a look over, there may be a series of structural defects, rooms formed out of the spaces between true rooms through which you might find certain denizens who might be siphoning off this energy and this efficiency. Kill them all, negotiate with them, enslave them, recruit them. How you deal with it is up to you. Why you deal with it is because you want to advance. It is for me to determine whether the way in which you have done it is enough to see you move further up the organization. I will not provide you with any aid. Do not look to me to save your lives should you find yourself in a fight. Do not look to me to negotiate on your behalf. I will lend my presence only in the most absolute of emergencies to perhaps remove your corpses from the area.
I think when he mentions recovering our bodies, I think there's a part of Velamris that not a cold smirk, but more of a not quite a smile, and he'll lift his glass of whatever is being served to drink, and he will
A red
say,
wine.
"Yeah," and he'll lift his glass of wine, and he will say, "At the very least, my lord, I rest assured knowing that my body will be taken care of should we fail, and it will not be left to be used by whatever dwells below."
He raises his glass and says, "To your body." Lord Von Erner raises his glass as well. "To that man's body."
Did not even mean to get a toast going here, but I guess I did. Yes, I sincerely hope that my body would be burned and not left for whatever's down there to do whatever it would like.
Oh, it would be
Should we fall?
horrible for you to die on this ship while we're in transit.
As a living person, fond of living and serving for the God Emperor, death is an unfortunate outcome.
Well, you know what they say. Only in death does duty end.
He'll lift his cup again. It'll just a quick lift as an agreement and take a drink.
Okay, he toasts your toast.
Rassie's just confused. It's not sure what's going on, just that he's pretty sure that they're just laughing at Velamris.
Yeah, I think Velamris is trying to find a way to like politely bow out because the appetizers do look interesting.
A second round of your appetizers are already being
Oh yeah,
removed.
sure. Yeah,
A second round of
like, "Damn it."
appetizers, burrata di bufala with tomato jam and almond prosciutto crumble is being served, and then thick cut Wagyu beef served as if it was like a wavy bacon strip that has been soy caramel glazed.
So it really does look like bacon. It's just
Yes.
But it's not bacon, it's beef.
It's not
and
bacon, it's beef.
Yeah, I
It's
think
sugary
Velamris will.
beef too.
Yeah, Velamris will definitely partake of that and hope that he can stay out of the limelight for a little while longer.
Rassie's trying everything once. He's going to he doesn't know how much food he's going to be trying to stick in his body, but he wants to try everything at least once.
Sister Holly, do you have any questions about how you'd like to go about this search through the Darkholds?
When do we begin?
When do you want to begin?
Is there an expectation that we go from dinner to this, or that we have?
Oh, you certainly could, or you could rest beforehand.
And how long do we have?
Until the
we
ship
arrive?
exits our transit point. Theoretically, that's in 2 weeks, but you know the vagaries of these things. Could be 2 hours, could be 2 years. If I had to say on a meta scale, you've got about 4 episodes, and we're halfway through the first one, so Lord Von Erner's nose begins bleeding. When they say that, someone comes forward and immediately dabs his nose for him.
I mean, there are normally, and I haven't spent a lot of time on starships, or void ships, but I believe there are really 2 reasons for entering the black hole. One is to clear out the mutants that naturally form there, and the other is to restore operation to that component of the ship. Is there any expectation of? We don't really have a tech savvy person among us as to whether we are we clearing a path for other technicians to come through? Are we expected to find ways to restore power or function to derelict sections of the ship?
It sounds like negotiating with the Mechanicus has been added to your to-do list.
Well, negotiations I can do.
He raises a toast to your negotiations. And Lord Von Erner immediately goes, to her negotiations.
Like a drinking game. How many times we make him toast?
Literally no one can keep up with Mercutio Borghese.
No, but it's not him I'm worried about. It's Conrad Von Erner.
Doesn't Mercutio have like 3 livers or something?
I mean, somewhere out there.
Alcohol at this strength does literally nothing for him.
Yeah,
So-
like literally Spaceballs, their drink is like they have to put poison in it so it has any effect on them.
That checks out.
Yeah.
While you all are enjoying your burrata and wagyu, you can see that Conrad and Mercutio are discussing their bet over the sister without a mister and the engine seer without peer for the debate tonight. It sounds as if Conrad, like a good imperial noble, has of course bet on the side of the ecclesiarchy. But strangely, Mercutio seems to be very confident that the Mechanicus is going to come out on top in an intellectual debate.
Is there a topic for the debate? Or is it just simply...
which is more powerful, the God Emperor or the Omnicide?
Yes.
Well, then, I'm not even sure how that's a debate, personally, but I suppose when it comes to citing sources and things of that nature, the technicalities start coming out.
Mercutio turns to look at you and says, well, I assure you that should I rip your arm out of its socket and break your other arm by beating you with it, that the Omnisire would see fit to provide you with replacement arms. While death may be the end of duty, duty does not end by disablement. It is through the works of the Omnisire that one might continue such works. And as a biker, I must say I find keeping a good relationship with tech priests is always a good idea. The machine spirit of assault bikes can be intemperate.
I have found many such intemperancies of machine spirits in my time as well.
Perhaps you are an ill-fated man.
Perhaps. Or I've just been exposed to quite a few different machines dealing with various members of the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yes, yes. You know, you're somewhat famous in certain circles. Killing your old boss.
I live to serve.
One would hope.
I think there's definitely a moment where Velamris is like, I'm not really sure how to broach this topic.
With your
I
new boss.
Yeah,
So
like how do I
that
talk about killing the old guy in front of the new guy? Like that's like, that's touchy. That's really touchy.
yeah, there's obvious like Rassie's like, all right, I got my answers. I've been drilled since forever. I know, like, equipment comes and goes, but my soul is, oh, but I don't have a soul. Oh, geez. Like he's so confused and he doesn't want to say anything.
So they
I
begin
mean,
serving the main
yeah,
course, which is prime Delmonica from Brian Maccabees, with a side of julienne potatoes with truffle crema and pecorino.
I guess I don't want to preempt the debate, but surely the Treaty of Mars states that the God Emperor and the Omnissiah are two sides of the same coin. That one being worshipped through two names. I'm not sure how either side of that can be more powerful than the other, if only to assess the legions that commit themselves to one name or the other. And that would be then, therefore, to compare the ecclesiarchy to the mechanicum.
My dear sister, what is written in the Treaty of Mars and what happens on a rogue trader's ship at the edge of the galaxy may be two very different things. There is a sort of looseness and disorder to crews like these. Such delights have kept me in the employ of the Darkwind trading house, but they are indeed defects.
I mean, when you say defects, if we're talking about the argument over whether or not the Emperor and the Omnissiah are the same thing, that's not a defect, that's a question of heresy. And while rogue traders are permitted great uh,
Loose
Leanings.
freedom,
interpretations, sister.
yes, they're turning to heresy is not one of them.
I think you'll find that all aboard the ship would claim themselves to be quite faithful.
To the faithful. I read my last.
Okay.
Velamris was thinking the same thing, but you beat me to it.
Conrad and Mercutio both cheers to that.
Same with Velamris.
I know there are many questions that have never been in my purview to ask or seek the answers for. But I know that the Omnissiah and the machine spirits provide us with the tools to serve the God Emperor. And the God Emperor watches over and determines the fate of my soul.
Now, Conrad is nodding to that, and Mercutio looks at you as if he knows that you don't have a soul, and that what you said is very sad.
Yeah.
Don't the rest of us know that too?
Yes,
Yeah.
but Conrad doesn't.
Okay. I couldn't remember if we were in any of those blank conversations with
It's definitely a social faux pas to point out someone's lack of soul at dinner table. So I'm not going to bring it up.
Yeah, I think Velamris will just kind of look at Rassie briefly, not to belabor the point, but he'll just look over and nod and then resume eating the oh god, I've already forgot what the main course was.
Delmonico beef.
The Wagyu. No, I'm sorry.
Prime Delmonica from Brian Maccabees.
Yes.
Each of you is provided with a gift basket from the captain. With her regards that she could not attend the meeting. She was delayed due to several accommodations needed on the bridge. The gift basket includes a bottle from her personal vineyard aboard the ship and a series of wheat crackers with various seasonings on them and a local cheese that's been formed from the growth fats of the Mechanicus on board.
Can we attend the debate after dinner, or is it
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You head down to deck 14. I mean, it's a huge open area. They basically turned one of the like hangar, like cargo lighter bays
Yep.
into like a series of standing room only and then like tiered seating in the back. And Mercutio Borghese goes with you, and wherever he goes, people like bow to him and go to one knee. So you get good seats wherever you want to go, and you can see that like the Omniscience champion is like, it is illogical when your flesh temple is burned away through age. Only the machine shall remain. Metal is eternal.
Was there at least
Therefore,
was there a weigh-in at least before the whole thing started?
yes, the engine seer weighs hundreds of pounds more than the tiny sister that's facing off against him.
Yep, I think while everybody else goes, Rassie doesn't want to go to the debate.
Excellent, Rassie. So here's what happens. When you depart from the rest of the group, you find yourself like walking down a corridor, going to wherever you're going to go, and you get interrupted by an event. You're approached by a sister of battle who has like a fleur-de-lis tattooed on her cheek. This is the most goth sister of battle you've ever seen. She's got like dark eyeshadow, dark eyes. Her armor has like, I don't want to say like custom accents to make her seem more gothy, but even her stance is like, I'm a cool girl from the 90s sort of thing. There's a
So
slight,
gothy that
you
even
just
40K players are confused.
for some reason you get a vibe that she listens to Midwest emo music when you look at her.
Big Silverchair fan.
Does it look like we're passing each other, or is she like walking
No,
to
she's
me?
actively approaching you with two sisters behind her that are similarly gothy.
Okay, I will stop.
Rassie,
Uh,
you
well met,
are
sister.
Rassie Van der Lucht. Van Lucht.
I am.
You are aware that in your genetic sequence, you have been identified as a pariah.
I know something of this.
Now this is not a tall sister of battle, right? She's not like, 6'10" or something, but she is wearing the typical sister of battle heels with her power armor.
Mm-hmm.
And she is like a average height woman, and you are a short man. So
Yeah.
she towers over you and slams her hand against the wall, pinning you between, and she says, my sisters and I have been reviewing your genetic material, and we believe that with an exchange between the four of us, we have a larger than normal percentage chance of producing a Sister of Silence. We request your aid in this process.
Am I familiar with the Sisters of Silence?
I don't think so. They're kind of in deep shit in the Warhammer 40K lore right now. The High Lords are trying to kind of erase them, was my understanding. And the Ecclesiarchy is like, we kind of like them. We like what they do. They're really good at fighting demons. Could you chill? Could you chill for a sec, bro?
I I have to apologize, sister. I'm not familiar with the Sisters of Silence.
Your familiarity is not required. They are pariahs like you, specially trained holy warriors meant to engage a specific kind of enemy. You know of what I speak.
I do. And that is all I need to know to give my consent.
Would you prefer a more mechanical exchange, or would you prefer a more natural way?
I would prefer a more natural way.
Okay. All right, you go have a four-way with these three sisters. They don't like being around you, just to be clear. Like you,
Nobody likes
yes,
being around me.
yes. But new Sisters of Silence are needed, and a 0.4% higher chance of spawning one than normal is a risk they're willing to take.
Okay.
It is a strange time for you that perhaps awakens something in you or not. I'm going to leave that up to you to be with 3 people who don't like you.
As opposed to just 2.
Wow. Are we learning something new about Holly and Velamris? Is this a throuple?
God.
Some real work-life balance issues on this team. Meanwhile, back at the debate, the ecclesiarchy, of course, this is a shrine ship. There's no way this guy was ever going to win a popular vote, right? But his repeated, like, he's the kind of debater that just will never admit that he's wrong and just keeps repeating his same points over and over again. And they're mostly, you will.
So he ends every sentence with QED.
Yeah, sure. But he says it in binary. Yeah, he just keeps going over the, like, your body will waste away and die, and your soul will go to your God Emperor, but my soul will remain in service to the Omnissiah forever through his works. Is this not superior? And that's his go-to over and over again. Anything you guys want to do at the debate?
I think Velamris is just gonna, once we find seats, maybe grab some snacks or something. But I don't know what kind of snacks would be available at a debate. I don't know
Popcorn.
what that would look like. But yeah, no, he's gonna be intrigued. Yeah, overpriced snacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's gonna be intrigued in what the Mechanicus side has to say, even though he knows somewhere deep inside he's just like, no matter what argument he can raise, he's going to be defeated. Just between his own faith and probably somewhat aware that this is a shrine ship, and so it's not looking good for him. But he just doesn't think the Mechanicus is going to get this at all.
So the Master of Ceremonies is like, we're counting the votes in, and it comes to a tie. It turns out that neither the Omnissiah nor the God Emperor is higher than one another. They are both totally equal. And the people on the ship are like, I guess that's how the sisters are beginning to pour out of the area. The engine seers are like, this is technically a victory in our eyes. Acceptable outcome.
Partial victory.
Partial victory. The odds were stacked against us. Achieving even this level of recognition is worthwhile.
So what level does the engineer without peer hold on the ship? Like is he? So is he? He's one of the senior people on the ship then for the. Yeah. Okay, so is there an opportunity to approach and talk with him after the debate?
Absolutely.
Or is he like, okay?
Oh, they're both doing like a question and answer part where people want to know like the fine technicalities of the debate and bring up, like, oh, you said something. I'm curious. Could you expound on that further?
Okay. Well, I would like to go and try and to have a chat with the NPC without peer.
Now, just to be clear, that's not their actual name. That's just the hype name that they.
That's all I've been told about them so far. So that's what I'm going with.
Okay. You approach.
They can feel free to set the record straight.
You approach and they introduce themselves. They say, "I do not recognize you. Identify yourself."
Sister Holly Van der Velt of the what was our team called again? The Special Projects and Acquisitions team. Is that right? Right.
Good enough.
Yep.
I am Osev Tanzarv, engine seer of this vessel.
Well, first off, allow me to congratulate you on your debate performance, especially with such a hostile crowd.
A draw is a victory.
under the circumstances. That would be a very reasonable assumption to come to. The reason I've approached you is that myself and my team have been assigned for the remainder of the journey to be clearing a section of the Blackholds. And presumably the agencies aboard the ship would like to recover or repair any lost or damaged technology as we clear it through before it invariably refills later with more mutant filth.
Indeed.
So how can we coordinate that with you and your team aboard the ship?
What is your proposal?
I suppose communications. We will let you know as and when we clear each section and how long it should remain clear for. Give you an opportunity to come in and restore power, restore operations, recover anything. If we find anything in particular, we'll call it out as well. We don't need unless you wanted to send along a representative with our fire team. But otherwise I'd be happy for you to simply say to you that you could follow along once we've cleared a section safely.
We will provide you with a communication servitor. It will remain at all times with Velamris Quineel. Ensure that Velamris Quineel does not remove anything from the servitor.
I'm gonna spray paint something on that one.
He turns and says, "What did you say?"
I said nothing. I apologize if you thought I did.
My oral sensors picked up a transmission from your mouth.
I got nothing. We'll be happy to have a communication link with the engineers in order to oversee this problem.
A communication link with the engineers can be provided. One that would make it easier for you to not be misunderstood. Perhaps you would like to have your lower jaw replaced with a Vox communicator. This can be arranged post-haste, Velamris Quineel.
I appreciate the offer, but that won't be necessary.
I mean, the advantage of the server is you won't have to carry the Voxcaster.
He buzzes angrily for a few seconds, and you're pretty sure he's swearing at you in Binaric.
I think Velamris would know a couple curse words in Binaric.
Yeah, I mean, this guy just straight up doesn't like you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I stole stuff from him, allegedly.
I love the fact we just hear some modem sound, and nearby tech priests are like, "Can't say that." Shock.
Said that in public.
All right, where should we collect the servitor from?
We will have it sent to you. We know where you are.
Is there anything in particular in the Darkholds that we should be looking for? Something to help?
Inefficiencies. I am accessing new spheric content. There is a heatsink that is operating 0.12% less efficient than normal. This could affect the length of our trip and may have greater ramifications down the line for future trips. Heatsink efficiency must be restored as soon as possible.
And if we clear this area, you can get to that heatsink and fix it, because obviously none of us have the skills or capabilities to do so.
All things are possible with the Omnissiah's wisdom.
Indeed. I would trust you or your people to do the work before I would attempt it, of course.
It would be foolish for you, Velamris Quineel, to interfere with the great work of the Omnissiah, especially as you have not been properly outfitted with the tools necessary, although that can be arranged.
He really wants
is
to
not
chop you
responding
up.
to that in particular, just so he doesn't want to be like, he doesn't want whatever he says to be misconstrued as, yeah, sure, turn me into one of your servitors.
It's like, oh man, I got to be careful about my sarcasm right now.
No, he knows better. I mean, this is not new to him dealing with Mechanicus in person. It's just not common. So, he knows better than to. He's definitely watching his tone at this point.
At this point, Oseb Tanzarv just pivots and walks away. Like someone who's done with the conversation. In this, I'm drawing from personal experience of me doing this to people, where I'm like, I'm done.
And then you click the leave meeting button.
No, I mean in person. I just will turn around and walk away. Fully done with this conversation. Nearby in the post hubbub here, you can hear someone is like has a little servo skull floating near them that's like blasting music. And you can see that they have like, attention, warriors of Macaria, stand ready to embrace your destiny with the new brazen consul capes imitation crafted by the proud sons of Aventium. These capes embody the fierce spirit of this locally renowned chapter. Drenched in their iconic colors, each cape is a testament to valor and honor. Pause for dramatic tension. Designed for the battlefield and beyond, these capes are not just armor against the elements, they're a declaration of loyalty to Ultramar. Feel the rush of battle as you don the sigils of a chapter, each stitch echoing the legacy of the great heroes who came before you. And with 400 thread count, you can use it as a sheet in case you get cold at night on the battlefield. Lightweight yet resilient, these capes allow for unrestricted movement. Whether you're leading your squad of battle sisters into the fray or rallying the faithful at a local shrine, command respect with every stride. Join the ranks of the unofficial Brazen Consul's Auxiliary.
This is amazing.
Imitation, unofficial. Pause for dramatic effect. I love it.
Look, I have to admit that the opening scenes from The Last Samurai, where it's drunk Tom Cruise, like, I shot these Indians like this, pa-pow, pa-pow. I don't know. You just rewatch the movie. The first 10 minutes
It's been
are
a
incredible.
while since I've seen it.
The first 10 minutes are him, like, in the West, like, someone is like, we need you to sell these revolvers. And he's like, I'm drunk right now, and the last time I used this gun, I killed 100 Indians with it. I'm having a traumatic flashback. And he's just wandering around the crowd, just like, haha, I killed so many women and children with this gun. And I'm like, this is the greatest scene in Tom Cruise's history. Okay. Unless there's anything else, we can cut to the next morning when you have all reconvened in front of the sealed door.
Rassie would have definitely, knowing that they don't like him, would definitely mention as he's leaving that he will show discretion. Nobody will ever know that they did this.
They don't say
From him.
anything to you. Okay. They're just
Yeah.
Rassie show up glowing though.
He's confused, okay?
Okay, so that's
He
so
is
much glowing.
confused.
He doesn't have that. I've just gotten some and you haven't. Look.
Like, there's a whole thing for guardsmen to be joking around about sister hospitalers, and what just happened confuses him.
These were no hospitalers, sir.
They were no hospitalers.
Did you see by the AP? There is actually a new book out for Imperium Maledictum too.
I did not. What did tell me
the
more?
the Inquisition Player's Guide.
Oh,
So it's a bunch of Inquisition Player's Guide. It's a bunch of new character creation content and everything, like new talents, new gear, etc. It's primarily built around Inquisitorial acolytes.
Yes, of course.
But a lot of it is generic as well. So it's available on Drive Through RPG. I think the book doesn't come out until sometime next year, but you can already get the PDF now.
You mean the physical book comes out sometime next year?
That's right, yeah.
I'll have to pick it up tomorrow then.
Yeah.
All of you have gathered.
I got it the day after last game. I've got to tell you about it.
Okay. You've gathered before the sealed door. A servitor is waiting there, and its arm has been replaced by something like a S-comp from Star Wars that it plugs into the door. and opens. And on the other side, you see that there's like a little rat dude wearing like a robe and a hood. And he's clearly dead, and it looks like he's been dead for some time. He's starting to.
Is it Gropsis?
It looks like someone who looks like Gropsis. It's definitely not. I mean, Gropsis died.
What? He died?
Yeah, during the demon thing.
No. No,
Well,
he
this is not-
he gizmoed his way through the vents and then
Oh, is
showed
that
up
what
again with
happened?
a
For some reason, I
Yeah.
thought he was dead.
Yeah, I
Nope.
think-
This is
It
not.
was
It's not
Didn't we get-
Gropsis.
Didn't we
It's
get a cool thing where he dropped out of an air vent with a bandana
Yeah.
around his head?
That
Yeah.
might be true.
Yeah.
I was like, no, Gropsis didn't die.
This is not Gropsis. He does have a journal sitting next to him.
Jerome face. Oh my god.
I'm going to give you guys the option if you'd like to read this journal entry, but you have to read it in the manner of a sort of aged explorer, desperate and on his last limbs, writing his final entry. If you're going to voice act it, you have to voice act it correctly.
Well, with that in mind, I don't know if I can.
All right.
On this fateful eve, I find mine own heart heavy with the weight of grievous decisions. The spirit of dawn bear witness to mine actions most dire, forsooth. That makes no sense. I was compelled to forsake mine companions, brave souls who have stood by my side in the face of shadow and peril. In the depths of these accursed caverns, we did unearth a truth most terrible, a darkness that threatened not only our lives, but the very realm itself. The ancient Jepester spoke of a ritual, a means to bind the malevolent force, yet it demanded a sacrifice most profound. In mine heart I knew that to stay was to doom us all. Thus I chose the path of solitude, a burden I shall bear alone, because it's solitude. As I ventured forth...
Yeah, hold on, James. Let me just say. I fucking wrote a curse yesterday, and you were like, oh, so he's got scurvy. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I writing prose about scurvy if you're just going to be like, oh, he's got scurvy? Now I'm writing Diablo 1 style journal entries that are like, ooh, here's spooky backstory stuff that implies events that happened. And you're just like, ooh, you can't just put forsooth wherever you want. I wanted to put forsooth wherever I want. It's an old word that sounds good. It's spooky journal. God damn, you know what? Do whatever. And it's Japester, by the way. But that. God damn it.
It's not an AP show without an AP meltdown.
I don't need the commentary about it. You know what? Do you read your Dungeons and Dragons adventure modules and go, ooh, this journal entry from this author seems, I'm going to provide some commentary on that while I'm reading it to the group. James, do you do that?
Would you
This
like me to
feels like a
continue
really
reading it?
targeted attempt. You know how long it took to write this? Look how long it is. And it's full of archaic language.
Would you like me to continue?
Yes, please.
As I ventured forth, their anguished cries did echo in mine ears, and I cast one final glance upon their noble visages. I pray that fates be kinder to them than they have been to me, for I am but a wretched soul, wandering these desolate halls, haunted by the spectre of mine own choice. Spelling correctly. Mayhap I shall find redemption in the shadows, or perchance the dawn shall illuminate me back to them, should I survive this trial. Yet in this moment of solitude, I am left to ponder, is the greater good worth the sacrifice of those whom I hold dear? Thus I commit these words to a page, a testament to mine fully and resolve.
Folly.
Folly. Here we are, and resolve. Mine own reserves of succor ran low, and the portal herein will not open. Has the dawn forsaken me? What can be the answer to this riddle of display? I cannot move. Death comes for me. Whoever finds this, do better.
Next to this person, there is a CRT monitor that is blinking. In a nameplate above it, it says, "If thou would pass, enter the name of the Lord." 9 alphanumeric characters. And you can see in the terminal, the last 4 entries are Light of Da, Dawn Spirit, Dawn Light, 00000000.
That's what it must be. Dawn, dawn, dawn. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, before we go in, we should probably establish 9 characters would not be Emperor is too short, God Emperor is too long.
Chaderius and Darkwind don't work. Oh wait, this is a Darkwind ship, isn't it? Right?
It is,
Light of
yes.
Dawn. Yeah. I don't know how to spell Latenya, but I don't think that's 9 characters. And she's also not a lord.
Rassie's leaning on that 24 intelligence and is not going to say things unhelpful. He's just going to look at it. He's going to scratch his head and go, 9 characters. Okay. And just like look down the stairs and make sure nothing comes up while they play with the screen.
So I feel like 2 of us should wait outside with the servitor while one person goes in and we try a few things, and then that way the servitor can open the door from the outside again. Or is there the same sort of scomp link on the inside of the door as well?
There is.
Yeah. I mean, it's alphanumeric, so it could have
Letters
numbers
and
in it
numbers.
too, but I don't know unless it is
How do you spell Borghese?
Borghese.
That's 8. The way I was spelling it had a U and it was 9.
That is 8.
Yeah, I mean,
he's standing nearby watching this, and when you type Borghese in and you could see the like blinking green, he kind of shakes his head.
I mean,
do you put a 1 at the end of Borghese?
Chaderius is 9 characters.
Is it?
Yeah.
Velamris, unless somebody stops him, Velamris would be like, why don't we try Chaderius?
You backspace out Borghese, you put Chaderius, it goes,
Yeah, of course.
The door begins shutting.
And come back out again.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely coming
You
out.
all exit. The doors close very slowly, just to be clear. The servitor then immediately reopens the door.
I imagine we can't open the doors from the inside, so.
I mean, opening the door from the inside requires getting this question correct.
Right.
Or having the servitor with us to use this complex,
Yes.
though, you said. Yeah. If we don't know for 100% that works.
What was the question we're trying to answer with 9 characters?
If thou would pass, enter the name of the Lord. 9 alphanumeric characters.
I mean, the other thing could be, if it's Darkwind, it could be Darkwind, the number, as in like the whatever. But that's probably, if this is an old road trade line, it's probably the mini number, although it could just be.
Velamris is going to type Omnissiah.
You hit enter. Bing. And the doors begin closing, of course, because you've entered the correct combination.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't sure that was going to work.
I suppose these were programmed by the Mechanicum on board.
Yeah, it was more about the debate, but yeah. Yes. And I'm going to, I guess,
the doors begin reopening, and you see Mercutio and the servitor on the other side. And then Luther pops his head around and goes, "Hey guys, I'm here too now. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late."
Can you give me back his gun?
Oh,
No.
you're giving me a gun?
No.
Okay. Should I
I
wait
will.
out here at this door and just wait for you?
You know what, Luther? You should come with us. And here's the thing. You're not going to have a gun right now.
Okay.
But if something kills me, take my gun.
Okay, but if
Use him
something
as the
kills you, it's
canary?
okay. And what should we do with these 12 sisters outside?
Oh, are they still following him?
Yeah, they've assembled right now. Like so they're going through warm-ups, like
I I think this is entirely up to our sister. None of us can make them go away.
Velamris is like, I don't want them following us. Stealth
No.
may be an option for this mission at some point.
If you want them here, nobody can say otherwise.
No. I think
I don't.
um I tell them to go to the chapel and pray for our safe return.
they begin narrating their own leaving. They're like, they turned as one, and then they all execute an about face.
I couldn't think of anyone I wanted to annoy by dispatching them onto them. Everyone I feel like annoying is here with us.
So
Why is Velamris right at the top of that list, I wonder?
Luther has leaned down. He's going through the dead Ratman stuff. He pulls up like a little walking staff that he used, like an aged person's walking staff, and then like an empty canteen and like a little like food bag, like a horse feeder, that you'd attach to your face. That's just got a couple crumbs at the bottom of it.
Was
Luther's
there
just
a
holding them
reason
up.
was there a reason you felt you should help yourself to the trappings of a mutant?
What? No, I'm just.
Was it?
Should I?
I just look at him disapprovingly and turn away.
I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
He turns to look at Velamris. What
Leave
should
it.
I do?
Leave it.
I thought we might find something. He drops it to the ground. You
Stop
guys were
thinking.
reading the journal. I just thought that we were supposed to be
Stop
going through
thinking. An empty mind is a clean mind.
Stop thinking. Now it's all I can think about.
Shall we proceed deeper?
Have you've studied the layout down here, right?
Yes, and I imagine I would have maybe a data slate or something
Yeah, sure.
on hand to
You
reference
know
where
that
we are.
there is a pathway to a large open hold that it looks like a ship's like structural defect. Like someone accidentally sealed the walls wrong, and what should have been a passing corridor has instead like they sealed the corridor edges, and so it's become part of this larger like Darkhold structure of like the story of a crewman being sealed inside the ship, right?
Mhm.
Like this
Inside the
area,
superstructure.
yeah, this area of the superstructure is like back rooms essentially. And it does involve going up and down some decks, but you find what you believe to be a path that will get you to a large open area that if you were, a group of weird mutants, it's probably the place you would live. The interesting thing is that along the way there, it runs through a corridor with an adjacent heatsink.
Yeah, I want to go to the heatsink first because we already told the guy that we would at least try to clear that out initially, or at least let me rephrase that. So the heatsink is a secondary primary or something as far as objective. Like we want to get that heatsink and clear that, and then obviously remove whatever overall mutant population is down here. So I figure it's more or less on the way or a slight bit of a sidetrack to get to the heatsink. Yeah, Velamris would be like, yeah, this is where we are, and we need to get here. This area over here is probably where we're gonna find some stuff. But let's check out this heatsink because that's a known thing that we should check on, and
Could
then
we
we can investigate
maybe
the other
just
stuff.
establish one rule first off is that when we first come upon whatever life exists down here, if they aren't immediately hostile to us, that we don't turn immediately hostile to them. I'm happy that we may have to then subsequently destroy them. But I would rather that conflict starts on our terms rather than just because we happen upon them. So unless they are outright aggressive to us at the start, I think we need to at least behave like we are here to help.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, sister, given the time that I have spent with you, if you can find a way to use and abuse these creatures for the benefit of those who are, pure and true, then absolutely. But I will defend you if they attack. And if they do, then we can burn them all out.
Oh, of course, yeah, if they're hostile, then they've already proven that they cannot be used.
The God Emperor did allow some mutations. The Ogren, for instance. I suppose some leeway can be offered, but hostility
Oh,
will be
no.
met with
Don't
hostility.
don't mistake me here. I am in no way suggesting that they are even remotely sanctioned down here, or
Oh,
even
absolutely
alike
not.
to those that have been deemed sanctioned. But
Absolutely.
if these wretches can be used and abused for the benefit of those who are deserving, then
All Velamris is hearing when you say use and abuse is target practice. But he's nodding along with you as though, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
until they've been used for what they can be, and then they're gotten rid of when their usefulness expires.
Rassie
Or
Van Luck, future radical inquisitor.
yeah, Velamris is I think he's actually he's just probably gonna come right out and say it as he's, checking over his weapons one last time. He's like, I'm definitely here to kill whatever needs to be killed. I doubt we'll find anything other than that down here, but
Have a little
But
shooting
faith.
first won't be the first play.
Have a little faith in the sister. She's
Oh, I
by the
proven to
sa-
have
be
plenty of faith in the
a
sister.
terrifying orator in the past, and will
yeah,
probably continue to do so.
but by the same token, we're not an army, so we need to pick the fights that we can win.
Yeah, I will be keeping mental note of our as we pass through of different locations for us to create strongholds. So if we do need to
Fallback
burn them
points.
out, I can bring the Darkwind drop troopers down, and we can effectively clear and secure the area. I'll be keeping eye to it if it becomes necessary.
Yeah, we need to establish like base camp so we can like have a place to go and progress our tech tree.
Do we have a rest area somewhere near within the first few hundred meters
Like once we get through a
that we
couple
can establish?
corridors and we make it through a few groups of these guys, we'll find a campfire to light.
Yeah.
A campfire?
It'll be a holographic campfire, but the rest aura will be there. Where our hit points and talent usage will be reset.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. If I can just say that I told after this, but I recently finished Dragon Age Inquisition for the first time in the 10 years since it's been out because I wanted to play the new game, and part of that included playing through the DLC that came out for Inquisition, and it was so clear that somebody at BioWare/EA when they're making it was like, oh, this DLC is too short. I know what we should just give the bad guys lots and lots and lots of hit points so they take forever to kill. We can make them harder, but then some people won't finish it. So no, make them just as easy, but just give them a ton of hit points so they take like 10 minutes to kill each bad guy. That was definitely the way they planned the DLCs for Inquisition. So fucking horrendous.
Okay, then.
Well, with
That's a
that,
choice.
all I have to say before we go on break is at least, as long as I'm getting raked over the coals, at least Dragon Age, BioWare, a historical top gaming company, is also receiving the invective of Grimdark James. I am in good company while my
While being toasted.
old English is being roasted. You know how
Yeah.
hard it is to find a way to work perchance into a sentence, is all I'm saying?
Anytime you would say mayhaps or perhaps or maybe,
Forsooth. Okay.
that's just really saying really or for real. But I hear you. I
I
hear
could
So
you.
definitely listen. I could have just done it all Valley Girl style, really. Like,
Like
I was
so I
wandering the
like I was there
corridors,
like
and then like my guys were like, we should last stand, and I was like, no, bro, I gotta get out of here. I can't die here, bro.
There is an alternate universe where James was forced to read a letter in Valley Girl.
Missed opportunity for sure.
So our next journal note that we find will be written by a Valley Girl type,
Hey,
and James will...
after you said you were going for the Diablo, one thing I was thinking of switching to a Deckard Cain voice for it.
It's quite a treasure you've got there in that Herodra cube.
It's like when Blizzard did the Deckard Cain Navman voice set. It's like at the next intersection, continue on, for this is a place of great evil.
Oh, that's amazing! I need this.
Okay, we're gonna go on break, and we'll be back in 5 minutes without Deckard Cain. As you make your way through these corridors, they are completely dark, and what little light you have casts shadows in every direction. Luther silently bringing up the rear. Space Marine Mercutio Borghese nowhere to be seen. Dim, glowing red eyes from the ever-present servo skull. And then the three of you spread into a loose formation, making your way through occasionally wide, cavernous tunnels, and other times cramped, small portal ways that you must crawl on your hands and knees to get through.
How do we get the communications servitor through?
I mean, it's a normal guy with the weird boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. Telephone with legs.
I mean, it has the sort of same AI as like a self-driving car, so occasionally you do have to like help it get through tunnels.
It's like when a cat's trying to get their head into something and their whiskers keep touching the side, so it keeps stopping.
I'm just imagining like a dude with that pasty corpse color, and then just like a full payphone like embedded in his stomach.
That definitely fits the Warhammer aesthetic.
We have to remember our Wrath and Glory roots. So he has a field telephone with the huge wire goes into his chest, and then he voxes. He's got a little vox set on his back.
Yeah. But it's still a rotary dial though, so
of course. Yeah.
In emergency you've got a dial
just like I had it in Wrath and Glory. Yeah.
Yeah, and the numbers have way too many zeros in them, so it's constantly waiting for the zero to dial down.
Very specific references. Okay. You finally enter into the corridor Velamris has spoken of. There is a quiet hush as you see a light spray of like mist in the area, and breaking up that mist through whatever lights that you have, you see fallen rat people. One is wearing like full plate mail and has like a sword and shield, and they have like fallen in battle. They're covered in wounds, like their armor is rent. You see some sort of like rat sorcerer wearing like a conical wizard hat has been pinned against the wall, and like a piece of metal has been driven through them and pins them into the wall. And they have like a spell book at their side, but it's clear that they also have like a very tiny las pistol that's covered in like arcane runes. And then there's a rat person who, unlike the others, they seem like people who move by like standing up and walking on two legs. This is a rat person who's like not wearing clothes and is covered with like packs. Like they're a pack horse rat. These three people have fallen in this chamber. There are many tubes and hoses hanging from the ceiling, chains skittered across the land. An exit to the corridor lies ahead of you, further into the darkness. But along the wall, there is a great gash coming out of a particularly large, like, tunnelway that seems to have been recently rent open. And you can see that there's like a little drip of water coming out of it, and maybe like steam coming from it. It's certainly, even though like if you had some equipment, you could widen the gash. The tunnel on the other side of it seems large enough you could fit a person in there.
But these aberrations are all dead, though. Is that right?
Yes.
Is the hole open from this side, or is it open like they came in from the other side, or do
From
they?
the other side burst into here.
Okay.
I'll hold up a hand for everyone to stop, and I'll clip on my respirator and turn off my lights.
Okay.
And I would like to like edge forward, sort of like feel my hand out into the mist to see if it like burns or feels really oily or something.
Feels warm.
Okay. Um, and I would like to creep through the gash.
Okay.
Just sort of like take a look through and without lights on, just see what I see. I can see in the dark.
Yeah,
so-
I'm gonna ask for an athletics roll, just because the gash is unwidened, so you could cut yourself getting through here.
Okay.
You make your way into the gash. It requires like twisting your body and pulling yourself through, but you manage to avoid seriously damaging any of your equipment. When you make it to the other side, there's a sort of strange smell in here. It has a smell of like cleaning agents, ammonia maybe, and steam is blasting down it occasionally. Like every few seconds, there's like a puff of steam in your face that seems very warm. But when it's not blasting in your face, you're like, why does it keep alternating between being super moist and super dry every few seconds? The corridor seems to continue without any light. It seems to continue for some time in a straight line ahead. Perhaps dozens of feet, maybe 100 or more.
Any signs of fighting?
I mean, there's certainly signs of whatever came through this thing and burst out into the chamber that Velamris and Holly are in. It definitely seems as if violence was enacted on this wall to burst through it. But in the tunnel that you're in now, no.
Given the Elysian background for breaching and attacking ships, does this look like this was made with explosives, or did something like with like a machine or something push through the wall?
Is there like a nature survival? Survivalist skill? Surely there must be something like that.
Survival is not, unless it's a specialization of something.
Yeah, we'd guess that I'm looking for a specialization.
This might be under intuition.
Might be just awareness. I think an
Yeah,
awareness roll will do it here.
Okay.
How do you have the ability to see in the dark?
I purchased photovisors as contact lenses.
Sure.
Didn't we all? Am I misremembering that? Because I have little
I-
photovisors, but that may have been my starting gear. I also
I don't have them.
okay. I also have my Omni specs.
That's a -6.
I have no idea, guys.
You're looking around. You're having trouble.
Everything looks
figuring this out.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're more distracted by the dead bodies, who have been collapsed in a sort of irreverent repose. They've certainly died through violence.
Hmm.
Can I use Medicaid to try and determine how long these guys have been dead?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I think that I'm gonna. If you have human specialization, I'll allow it.
No, I have forbidden
Okay.
specialization.
That actually won't work here because they are
they're
humans.
they're human mutants. Yeah, I figured as much.
Yes. Well, they're ratlings specifically.
Yeah.
But
Well, ratlings don't look like rats.
okay. Well, they're Skaven-y rat people.
That's a 0-1.
You rolled a
Ratlings
one.
look like hobbits.
Okay. You make your way over. These people are small little rat people. They're like mutant hobbits. You make your way over to these people, and the night seems like they died about 2 weeks ago, like after the ship got underway, probably like the day the ship got underway. based on the timeline. 'Cause you had like a week of waiting for
Yeah.
all the Imperial Navy ships to show up, and then you did the warp jump. So probably sometime that day that you entered into the Immaterium. These the knight specifically has like a sword and shield, and the sword is like on the verge of shattering. It has been like battered. The shield is covered in like little tiny claw marks. And the wounds that he bears seem to be like someone wrenched open his armor and just got in there and started eating his internal organs.
Was that post-mortem or was that what
That
killed
was
him?
that was what killed him.
Okay.
Was being
Perry Mortem.
yes.
Yeah, period.
The wizard seems to have died from exsanguination from being stabbed and basically like pinned to a wall. And he's pinned, like someone picked him up and pinned him to the wall because his feet don't touch the floor from where he's at.
And how tall are these? I'm assuming these guys are like 4 or
Three and a
5
half
feet
feet
tall.
tall.
3.5. Okay. Is there with my extra Jesus Christ, ever vigilant talent? Am I picking up any other additional notes,
Nope.
details?
Nope.
Okay.
Can
Any
I
clues?
gather
Sorry.
any sort of trappings or personal things they might have? Like, I don't know if they've got like little fetishes or whatever. Just something that could be used to identify them. Like, show someone later on, oh, we found this guy, he's dead. So I don't know if they've got any sort of symbols or necklaces or other fetishes that might be usable.
So, of course, the wizard type guy has his book that has some runes scrawled on it, and his gun also has runes. As far as you can tell, these runes are not like chaos runes or anything. They appear to be purely decorative.
Yeah.
Now, an omniscience agent who saw these carved into the pistol would explode into the stratosphere.
Yes.
But they don't appear to interrupt the functionality of a las pistol in any way, shape, or form.
Are they wearing anything that could approximate religious sigils or anything like
Yes,
the? Yeah.
indeed. I think that the book definitely gives you a very religious feel, but the shield that the knight has as well has like a strange symbol of like a swirl around a sort of yellow orb.
Okay. Oh, I guess we'll wait for Rassie to get back.
Yeah, I mean, if this goes on featureless and I don't see anything else up here without having to explore a couple hundred feet in either direction.
If
I'm
you
gonna.
explore several hundred feet in there, the temperature begins rising rapidly, and at some point you encounter like a pipe from above that is pumping humid air down towards you, and the area you're going forward into has extremely dry air.
Is there anything using the deck plans? Is there anything to identify what this is or where it goes? This tunnel that Rassie's in.
That's a really great question. I am going to ask you for a navigation test.
Okay.
I will give you advantage because you have the plans.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Rassie appears to be walking directly towards the malfunctioning heatsink.
Okay. I'm assuming if we're not in
We got box
voice
beats.
range that we have Vox speed. So I'm definitely gonna convey that to him and I'm gonna be like, hey, why don't we move together? And I guess this is the way to go.
Getting up here is going to be really hard. I mean, I barely managed to squirrel my way up, and I'm much smaller than the rest of you.
Yeah. Uh does the servitor have anything on him that we could use to maybe widen this, or is that more of an industrial escapade?
That sounds like
Yeah.
a job for. That sounds like an intern's job.
Well, yeah.
Like, I've got the tools to make a larger opening, but that's going to take time. I don't know how much time you want to put into it.
Hopefully my son is not being too loud in his room. And
You're
I
good.
don't think I'm picking him up. So um yeah, I don't think we have any tools otherwise to try to make this. I mean, I'm all right to make an athletics test. Whether or not I pass is a totally
Like,
different animal.
I have the tools. It's just going to take time. I don't know. It, I don't know what made it. I don't know how stable anything is going to be around it. We could certainly make it bigger. I have the means to do so, but I don't know how long we want to spend doing that
Or how
versus
much noise it
going,
might make too.
God, I'm making noise everywhere
Well,
I
there's
go.
noise and then there's industrial noise. You know, Sleemow, you may have heard of it.
Yeah, look, I just
Sorry.
we could try to force our way through here towards the heat sink, or we can continue going down past the gash and see what's there see what might be down there for the sister to speak to.
I think perhaps checking out the heatsink first would be more important, maybe.
Well, it seems like
I
we're disagreeing on this, Sister Holly. It's your vote.
Do I get a vote?
No.
No.
The
I'm so glad it wasn't me that said that.
so the incident that happened here, these deaths are a couple of weeks old. Whatever did this could be easily on the other side of the ship. So I think that we know that the heatsink is here. We should proceed carefully, but I think in this particular case, I'm gonna side with Velamris.
Okay.
Velamris, for a brief moment, will give a look of something close to shock and be like, "That's a first," and then wait for Rassie to start doing whatever he's got to do to make this hole bigger.
Well, I have a las cutter, so I can start hacking away to
I was
make it a
wondering if
little
you
bit
had
bigger.
one or if that was one that we just brought with us for that
No,
one time.
I bought it. I own it.
Yeah.
It's a proud piece of Elysian tradition.
All right, I guess I will post up security, wait for the hole to get bigger before we proceed.
I always start chopping away at this.
Several hours later, your group winds up down the tunnel. The temperature is starting to get very warm in like the 110 Fahrenheit range. Like
That's hot.
plus 40 Celsius, I would think. You can hear the sounds of people working on something mechanically, like the sounds of hammers and wrenches. You hear people in low Gothic grousing with each other. Their voices carry down this tunnelway for some time, and you see their shadows from the light being cast of their work tools into the tunnel ahead of you. So it seems like the next bend you go around, you will be in their workplace.
Before we go around that last turn, is there a way to tell how many there might be?
Make an awareness.
Can I, hold on, let me see. Does, that's eyes. I'm going to spend a fate point for advantage.
Okay. You hear 12 different distinct voices.
I'm going to point that out in a hushed tone to the others. It sounds like there's at least a dozen. And based on those tools, if we get into melee, it could be painful.
I think we need
I,
to.
I'm holding the shotgun, so I like couch it under my arm to lift it up, and I pat the flamer. I'm like, we're good for close encounters.
All right. I think we need to approach. As
Who
soon
leads?
as we get within sight of this group, AP,
Yeah.
I'm going to call out to them something on the lines of, behold, the servants of dawn hath come to elevate you.
So good. Fuck, he got me, bro. He fucking boomed me. Are
I feel
you... I
What?
need to know, are you holding up any of the iconography that you...
I have
You have your
my
staff, right?
staff.
Okay.
My staff, yeah, and I'm doing this through my loudhailer as well.
I'm not even going to ask you to roll then. You watch as a bunch of sickly looking voidborn humans who all have very pale, like Morlockian skin and pure, like black sclera eyes, all like turn and immediately mole person towards you. Fully half of them seem like they're so shocked that someone came down that tunnel. One of them stands and says, "Ah, visitors from the bazaar from Fadric City. I'm afraid I don't recognize you, but Servants of the Light of Dawn are always welcome here. Come, sit. I'm afraid our source of water is running low. We're trying to get it all fixed, but please, come, be at ease. Be at ease among us.
I correct you. We have come from beyond the portal.
All right, when you say that, someone stands up and they go ragdoll loose with their arms. It goes, beyond the portal! And they begin running around in circles. Everyone begins panicking, and someone's like, oh, newcomers have come. Fadrix! Ah. And someone is like, the Darkholds are open. What is beyond? And they're like, do not worry, friends. We may not be followers of the Light of Dawn ourselves, but its teachings tell us that beyond these walls, only servants of Sister Dawn await for us. You come in peace from the Light of Dawn, do you not?
We do. As I said, we are here to elevate you into her light.
I'm making a notable effort. Like I have like pushed Velamris forward to bodyguard for Sister Holly.
Oh, I'm
and
already
I'm
bodyguarding her.
I'm standing back far enough. I've seen the frost circles, so I'm standing back far enough that I'm trying not to screw things up for Sister Holly
Okay.
with my extreme unlikableness.
Yeah, I'm right there on, basically on the sister's hip. I've got my two pistols out, but I'm not, I'm not brandishing them towards them, but low ready or something to that effect.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to tell you out of character. As you've guessed, James,
yeah.
The Light of Dawn, this ship, has machine spirits that carry with it whispers of things like Light of Dawn and Dawn Latenya. And these people now, in turn, some of them worship that concept. And that is a local belief in these Darkholds. And
Yes.
these people now accept you as being a prophet savior coming from beyond the walls to save them. So you have just converted them to the religion of Fadrix.
Yeah. Cool. I mean,
There's no roll needed. You've fully criticaled this without a roll.
Yeah.
You've been like, I am a prophet who comes from afar. And they're like, holy shit. It's true.
It's not a long bow to draw from that point to start talking about how the fact that, well, Fadrix actually serves this great being called the God Emperor, and you too can serve the God Emperor directly, But,
okay.
But I'm not doing that right now. I'm not proselytizing right now.
Okay.
Once they are at ease and not aggressive, in order to help you, we need to know more about what has transpired in these lands. We found dead in the passageways beyond the portal, so on this side of the portal. Have creatures attacked you?
No, they're well, a few days ago there was an attack in Fadrix City by the Ochre people. Occasionally strange things happen where people see their dead relatives, or sometimes the walls begin to turn into flesh constructs, or people turn into jelly, like the ochre attack several days ago in Fadrix. But nothing has happened here recently. But the corridor you have come down, it is part of the sacred river. We've been having trouble getting it working again. As you can see in our workshop, we have many tools here that are in need of repair, and we've not been able to get the sacred tunnel working again. I fear that the supply reserve of pure water is running low in Fadrix. We are members of the consortium.
Do you know from where the water flows? From whence?
Well, the priests of Fadrix would tell us that it would come whence from the Light of Dawn. We thought it was bountiful and infinite, but we never questioned its source waters. One of our number went a week ago up the source, but they have not returned.
My associate here has my fellow acolyte has ancient maps of these lands. I was hoping that you might be able to help us understand how these lands have transformed in your time separated from the light. so that we can help to restore the water to end the threat of the Yoka people and to bring you and your community into the light of dawn beyond the portal.
They're
where you can
100%
live,
behind this.
yeah, where you can live shiny and chrome.
Oh, okay. You're introducing that into their lexicon now? Live shiny and chrome. Got it.
From the Australian, no less.
You've convinced the Water Consortium that living shiny and chrome is what they want to do. Perfect.
We just needed a Morton Joe now.
Velamris, these people are disgusting to you.
Yes, they are.
Voidborn aren't technically mutants, but they are rumored to be bad luck.
Yeah.
And of course, it's very clear that these people are not members of the crew, right? These are strange people that live in the walls.
Yeah, I think the moment he
show
saw
them these maps.
I'll be honest, the moment Velamris saw the all black eyes and their gaunt paleness, I immediately started questioning things. But the sister has the lead, and so he will holster one of his pistols and he will pull out the data slate to the relevant. Yes, thank you. God, speaking, really. He will open up the files and start getting ready to adjust notes and things of that nature to account for whatever changes there are.
The leader of the Water Consortium is doing the like pinch and expand, and he's like, and this is where we are right now, this room.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like zooming out and zooming in. He's like, it's so large. It's almost 1,200 long steps.
Yes, it's quite a bit.
It's
where is
20 man lengths tall. I had not realized that the world of the light of dawn was so large and rectangular.
It's quite vast indeed. Where did you say the source was?
Okay, so he points to the machine connected to the heatsink that provides it. Like, so this Water Consortium, based on what you're looking at here, without a tech roll of any kind yet, it seems like what they get their water by siphoning it from the thing powering the Geller field. They're taking water from the coolant system of the Geller field and they've turned it into their local pure water reserve. Now, water is not flowing down that corridor and it's causing them problems.
Because the Geller field is active? I mean, because I was going to say, like, but that sounds like there's not been a problem in the past for them, though.
But as noted,
always...
for the engine sears, they did say they lost 0.12% efficiency recently in the last few months.
Because I also know that, like, so it sounds like the attack that happened when the ship translated. I'll turn to the people. Do any of you speak the language of the heavens? And I will speak a bit of High Gothic. I'll just conjugate some verbs to see if they know it.
Nobody understands what you're saying.
Okay.
They're all looking in awe, though, when you're like the language of the heavens. They're like, oh, shit, this is so cool.
And an angel came down to us and spoke the high words.
You're definitely forming a new religion here, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Rassie, you speak High Gothic, don't you?
I do. You tutored me.
Velamris, do you?
I can catch a bit here and there, but I know I did not stay faithful to my studies.
Okay, all right.
I'm here as well.
Do you speak High Gothic?
No.
Okay.
Shush.
I just didn't want to be left out.
Yeah, stay back there and watch our back. With no weapon having ass.
In High Gothic, the plan I'm thinking of is to try and work out if there are different factions down here. Like, obviously, the Yoka people are one thing, if they're mutants, whatever. And I think that the best thing would be to send one group against the other under the promise that they will be protected by divine immortality under the, by turning faith, and we'll just have the two problems wipe themselves out. We can clean up what's left.
So just to make sure there's no gotcha, but Rassie is responding in High Gothic.
Yeah.
From the way they talked about the fleshy walls and stuff with the ochre people, I wonder if they are mutants down here that have been touched by the archenemy.
Oh, this is definitely.
I know that word, archenemy.
Yeah. When the this happened when the translation occurred, and we saw strangeness typical of a warp translation when we were in the ship as well. To them they have no way to predict the moment happening, so it's a horrific moment when it does. Right, but I think now we need to just. I think I'm still in data gathering mode, so
I do, if they are, I mean, all indications from their descriptions sound like there is, the fleshy walls and the ochre people. If you do want to pit them one against the other, I think it would be to our advantage to fight alongside them to guarantee a victory if they start losing, so we can make sure that that is not permitted to exist down here.
I really wish you guys were speaking in low Gothic. This is awkward.
But it seems that you have already endeared yourself to them in a way where you have their absolute loyalty. I will follow your lead.
I heard lead. I heard battle. What are you two talking about?
Let me know what you wish for me to say and do, sister. I'm here to support you.
I'll
That's
turn it back
not
to
helpful.
the people. We found the trappings of one of your sorcerers fallen. Should they be returned to the community?
Well, we have no sorcerers among the consortium.
So these were the light, the followers of the Light of Dawn. Yes, I'll hold the book to show them.
Oh yeah, they're like, the High Mage has fallen.
Afraid so.
What do these?
It would seem the expedition has failed, and like someone begins openly weeping, and it's like, it is the end of days. If we cannot solve the problem of the river tunnel, this shall be the end of us. There are no other alternatives. We must get the water flowing. The leader of this group, of the consortium, goes, do you know what slayed them?
Something very strong that came from a tunnel. Indicate on the map which tunnel we think it came from.
Okay. That is one of the steam pipes that we cannot traverse up. We have no way to climb up it. Perhaps it was one of the jelly people, the ochres.
Tell me of these ochres.
It happens from time to time. The records say once every 20 or 30 years, 1 in every 100 are taken by a fell plague where they turn into a strange pile of black jelly and then wander around eating people. All know that we must shun the ochres.
No.
No?
Slay the ochres.
Yes, that's how we definitely kill them. They are hostile on sight.
Yeah. Shun them right in the face.
Indeed. If you seek more information about the Light of Dawn and the High Mage, they are stationed out of Fadrex City. I can have one of my youngest sons take you there. But perhaps if you have someone who has great knowledge of the workings of machinery, you might help us get the river tunnel working. He gestures towards the forbidden portal, the source.
Well, thankfully, we have a way to talk with those beyond the portal who can tell us how to solve this.
The person who went noodle arm before goes noodle arm again and goes, communicating beyond the portalway, beyond the light. Someone nearby faints and it's just like, my stars.
They wouldn't know what stars are. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me.
Hey, who's the game master here?
Yeah, I know.
What do you call yourselves? Are you a tribe, a clan?
We are the Water Consortium. It has been our responsibility for over 600 years to provide the water.
Who do you provide it for besides yourselves?
There are many who wander this lightless land. Many of them gather in Fadrex City, but there are others, strange rat peoples, of course, who have integrated. The Japester and the Keeper of Secrets. There is the Veritas Maximal.
Tell me of them, of these different groups.
Well, the Japester and the Keeper of Secrets are the same.
Okay.
They are keepers of ancient secrets. It is said that they tell truth and lie if you pay them but a few drops of water or perhaps some food. The Veritas Maximal claim to be the first who inhabited this holy land of Fadric City. They are the ones who shaped the bazaar in the manner of which it is. They wear purple robes so that they may be distinguished and speak in strange languages from time to time.
Does it
It's said
sound
that
like screeching?
no, it just sounds like strange jibber jabber. Similar to what you were speaking earlier, but different. Not you, the rest of your companions.
Yes,
The
the
one where
language of the
you kept
heavens.
saying things like battle and such. You were muttering very loudly. We could all understand what you were saying, translating
Yes.
what they were saying.
I am unfortunately not knowledgeable in the language of the heavens.
This was like that, but different.
Indeed. And this
Well,
bazaar, is that in the city or is that a separate
Fadric
location?
City is the bazaar.
And you could show me on this map,
Yes.
and your
He
son will
he
guide us
shows
there.
you on the map Tertiary Cargo Bay 7.
Interesting.
and I assume
So
there are other consortiums here that produce food, tools, whatever is required by by the different communities.
we are the only consortium, but there are guilds that have different ways of doing things. Ours is a family business. Theirs is a manner of journeymen and trades. They choose the worthiest among them to continue their learnings. It is not a manner of lineage among the lesser people.
Very well. I must caution you that it will take us some time to reach and speak to all the peoples of these lands. I would suggest that your consortium does not talk about our presence to others just yet. We don't want them rushing to this place to seek our aid all at once. It would presumably make it difficult to fix the water and to help set up to end the threats to your people. So allow us to reach out to them individually ourselves, one by one, as we bring together the tribes.
All 12 of them make the sign of the Aquila and bow, and the leader says, "Our silence shall be sealed." Now, this is the first time you've seen them make the sign of the Aquila, and you didn't teach them this.
Yeah. I'll make it back to them as well. So.
One of them
Honor seal.
whispers, "Ah, and they shall come knowing your symbols. It is like the ancient prophecy said."
I can put a Stilson on too.
The one.
That was better than anything I was coming up with. I almost said Lisa and I'll guide, but that wasn't going to be enough.
The last thing I want to mention, Velamris, is you and this young boy are looking over your map. The interesting thing about Tertiary Cargo Bay 7 is that it is pretty adjacent to the Deck 14 cargo bay where the debate was last night. And its purpose is, on paper, when cargo lighters come into the bay, when they're unloaded, this is where you take the cargo lighter to like store it for long-term travel. You know what I mean? You don't leave the cargo lighter in the dangerous open to external air. You know, like there's no reason for them not to be sealed deeper in the ship. It's like a carrier bay, like the lower decks of a carrier, like a US Navy carrier sort of deal.
Yeah.
According to the map, the map, there should be access from the Deck 14 cargo bay to Tertiary cargo bay 7, but you know for a fact, having been in there last night, that that is a wall where it should be. So where there should be like a mechanism to like haul shuttles into this cargo bay, instead it's a
It's sealed
solid
off.
like 100-foot long wall.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Curious. I won't say anything. I
Okay.
won't point out the discrepancy or whatever to this
Okay.
kid, but I will definitely be making mental notes.
All right, everybody gets 40 XP.
Can I gain an additional 50 for my short term? Meeting with a priestess type? Priestly type?
Yes.
Okay. Now I need a new goal.
You said 40?
Yeah.
40, 50, 90, 120.
Oh, Sun Spirit's here in chat. Yes, we're doing the primitive people locked in the ship. They form their own social groups and religions and alternative histories. So James is now presenting himself as a beyond prophet of the light of dawn. Someone needs to tell Henley about this. I think I am probably going to draw out a simplified version of the map for you guys, just to make sure you understand the interconnection between the tunnels and the heat sink and the pipings. I
That
feel
would be
like
helpful.
that may be important for the story for you to understand those. And while I get it, I also have the full map of the area, and I'm like, it makes sense to me, but now I'm recognizing it might not make sense to you.
Yeah, because I think some of that stuff I was envisioning, like trying to imagine where these different locations are in my head, and just that one, like I thought we were in the room with the heatsink until Rassie went through the wall, and that actually led us closer to the heatsink. So I think having that visual representation will be helpful insofar as at least figuring out where we are in relation to everything else.
The workshop room that these guys are in is basically directly adjacent to the heatsink. Like it's supposed to be flooded with coolant.
So this would be a coolant tank for that heatsink. And we're actually walking around in it. That's
Yes.
amazing. I'm sure it smells delicious in here.
It smells like a machine shop.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and ammonia.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah, having a map would help, and then curious to know how many different types of mutants we're going to be murdering.
All of them.
Voidborn aren't technically mutants.
No, I know.
But they are
I mean,
commonly
Velamris might
murdered
not
for
quite
being
catch
mutants.
that,
So just for clarity, the consortium we're speaking to are Voidborn,
Yes.
and the rat people that we found in the hallway are completely separate in
They
appearance from each
belong
other.
to the religious order, the Light of Dawn, that originates from Fadrex City.
Yeah, but physically, they look very distinct from each other.
Yes.
but they're also integrated within this community.
Yes.
But I mean, there's a social connection. But I was, for
Yeah.
establishing like what level of disgusting these things are,
Yeah.
Just to be clear, the Water Consortium have established with you that they are like a family business. These 12 people are all interrelated to each other.
And they're certainly closer to the Emperor's Light because they know the Aquila without us having taught it to them. We just need to bring them back in. That's Velamris' thoughts anyway.
Whoa, heaven let your light shine down. Okay. Wow, you guys really like shitting on Luther, by the way.
It's hard to not shit on someone that is basically a Warhammer 40K version of Morty.
I have never seen Rick and Morty, so
Your vocalization of Luther
pretty
definitely
spot on
makes me think of
for
it. Yeah,
Morty.
it's pretty
I
good.
mean, surely this character can't only be Morty from Rick and Morty. I mean, I feel like we've all heard a teenager whose voice is on the verge of breaking, and
Sure. There's plenty of different characterizations that could be.
gosh, Scoob.
Yeah. But this one, it definitely, especially just the way he's acting, makes me think of Morty, and now it's easy to shit on him.
Yeah, it's really easy to shit on someone who works on a sort of archaic journal entry with lots of tips and clues. I appreciate that you applied that knowledge forward, James, but also you don't have to provide commentary while you're reading it out loud to the public.
He said, save your feedback for the feedback form.
Just took me a long time to write that. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Because a lot of it, I was like, God, I got to fill this with a bunch of verbal garbage. So how do I say lots of weird old words, old timey words?
I do appreciate the my being turned into mine.
Yeah, forsooth.
Yeah.
I have made a living out of saying in 100 words what could be said in 20 words. So
Oh,
I
okay.
appreciate the effort.
Yeah, well, it provides me with succor, just like
I love that it's like Spectre. That's spelled wrong, by the way.
Well,
Is it?
and it's only spelled wrong because this is a UK based setting, and it would be Ari.
Yeah, it depends
Oh
on the
my
language.
God.
Or the...
Aluminium.
Okay, in Arthur's defense, that was a good response.
Spell honor with a U and then an E at the end with an accent mark. Would that make you feel better?
That would confuse the fuck out of me.
Honor?
The U I get, the E accented, I don't know.
That's for the French.
Well, but the
Honor.
French doesn't have, it wouldn't have the U though, I don't think.
Honor.
Am I crazy?
Don't worry about it.
I was not expecting my not going to the debate to go like that, and you were just like on the draw, like you were waiting to
Oh,
do
he was
that.
waiting for that
I
one.
was waiting to do it. It says
Okay.
Goth Sisters of Silence right here in big caps.
Well, it has left Rassie
I'm
very
just
confused.
trying to tie in a whole bunch of storylines in the background. Sisters of Silence, Robute Gulamon, and the Archmagos, Dominus, the secret AI, the Sisters of Silence being deleted from the Imperium's records. All the guys, I'm just trying to be Warhammer, okay? I'm trying to be Warhammer.
AP spent most of my game trying to put characters up, and so now in his game, he has a lot more power to do so.
I was just thinking about that today. I was like, remember all the really awkward conversations Nero had trying to hook people up and then making everyone miserable all the time? That was so good. I never get a chance to do that anymore.
You know, and I don't know why this particular thought came up, but Ivy and realizing that her name was just the number 4.
Yeah.
I don't know why that.
Did it take
just
you
popped up.
years to figure
No,
that
no,
out?
no. What I mean is when the realization was made on screen that her
Okay.
name Ivy had always been just spelled
Yep.
IV for the Roman numeral 4. So I was just like, okay. I hadn't thought about it at the time either, but seeing the realization on screen was pretty memorable.
I mean, that was based off someone else's player character in a different game, and that character also had a cyber mastiff called K9.
Mm.
What? That was.
You know what? I think I've decided on a short-term goal because you had that planned.
Yeah.
I think for Rassie, now that he didn't know about the Sisters of Silence, but he was told that there is a whole like order thing of pariahs set up to fight demons. I think his short-term goal is to find a way to do his part again.
To do his part again.
Okay, roll 3D100 real quick.
Oh no.
Just want to know if you can hit 100 on any of these.
Well, the total.
Those
Wow.
are very low. Those are.
That was it.
28, 54, and 70. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I guess he's shooting blanks.
Wow, James. Boy,
that even took me a second. I think...
because at first I was like, oh, I assume that these women are still pregnant, but I get the joke. And then I was like, oh no, he's referring to pariah blanks. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
It took a second for that second layer to
Well, that's
kick
the problem is apparently he's not shooting blanks.
You know, I wonder if it'd be more appropriate to make it a long-term goal if it's a 1 in 100 chance to be responsible for another Sister of Silence.
Your long-term goal now is to have enough relationships with women until you create a new Sister of Silence. The infinitesimally small, completely random odds that will happen.
I mean,
it was like a
1 in 100
is
they said
your character doesn't know that it's a 1 in 100, but
I know.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's funny how, like, compared to how rare it's supposed to be, and they were like, hey, you know, we did a genetic analysis, you have a higher chance
0.4%
than
more
normal.
likely.
Yeah, which a 1 in 100 is actually kind of doable over
Rassie's
time.
like, if I have sex thousands of times with thousands of women,
Who
I
all
might,
hate me.
I might. It's not that the women hate you; it's just that they find you grotesque and distasteful because your lack of soul is painful to be near. These
Ah.
sisters, though, know what you are, so it's even worse. They know that you're a horrifying alien concept. You're not cool like a Sister of Silence. Those are holy warriors. You're a man. It's different.
The sacrifices that they make for the God Emperor.
Yeah, of course. You're the Bernie Bros of what an incredibly specific reference.
Oh,
When you at the very start of the session were doing your scene and you referred to the the Adeptus Arbites removing her armor, like in my head, because you started with Adeptus, like I was thinking like along the line
Oh,
of
the
Adeptus
Custodes?
Custodes, yeah, and I thought,
Yeah,
wow, Arthur's really
Argina.
leaning into the Arthur's leaning into the fact that they're doing female Custodes now.
Yep,
That was a very unpopular choice, and AP's embracing it.
I am.
Yeah.
As I've mentioned just but a few minutes ago,
Yeah.
we're hitting all the relevant Warhammer storylines in the background of this show.
Did you end up doing your stint of Warhammer Plus AP?
No, not yet, not yet.
Yeah, okay.
My mom really wanted to watch Bridgerton and the show called The Diplomat, so I picked up Netflix. Don't worry,
Got it.
I'll get to it at some point. It's on my mobile phone, on my Chrome tabs. One day I'll actually activate it. Is there a female Custodes
Yeah.
series now?
Not a series,
There
no.
was an episode of The Tides.
There's a series called The Ties that had a female Custodes in it,
Okay.
along with the Sister of Silence. I really like the way they did the Sister of Silence in that one as well. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
was that the Psyker?
well, it's when they're going to pick up Psychers, and there's like
Yeah.
there's like the woman from the Scholastica Psychana, like are we okay here? And the Sister of Silence, like, hand signaled saying, no, everyone on this planet's going to die in the next 24 hours. And the
Yeah.
Custodian says, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. Okay. That's right. Oh, yeah,
nice.
the deaf one. I didn't realize that was the Sister of Silence, like in a very
Yeah,
literal sense.
Yes,
yeah.
Sisters of Silence don't speak.
Yeah. Well, I had the impression that she could not speak.
They take a vow of silence.
Okay.
They are physically still capable of speaking. They just choose not to.
I think the episode with the orcs was that the one with they had to collect all the ammunition. Sun Spirit was saying that in chat.
Yeah.
I think that was the episode with the yeah,
I
because
think
it
I've
was the
watched
orc horde, it was the orc wog or whatever that was coming in,
I think
and they
I've
were
watched
like,
that
"No,
one
we
yet.
need the ammo."
So just to be clear, by the way, Sisters taking unusual oaths is also in this game. You may have noted that some sisters took an oath of singing, where they can only communicate through song.
Yes, there's 12 of them following us.
Yeah. And this is still at its core a 40K comedy game based on The Office.
I would say Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yes,
seen The Office, and I heard it's not.
he's in his defense, he has said that a number of times
Yes,
that this is definitely more Parks and Rec than it is The Office.
but that's because I haven't seen The Office. So
Okay, well that means at least I can behave more Ron Swanson like them, I guess.
That would be amazing to see Sister
Holly
Holly
Ron
playing like
Swanson.
Ron. Oh my God, all she does is eat meat.
Luther turns and he goes, "I thought March 31st wasn't a real day." Sister Holly has 100 appointments on the same day. All with
They are all
planetary governors, sector lords, battle fleet commanders, and Primarch Robute Gulaman, all on the same day. Unbelievable. Make it happen, James. You're the only one who can.
You're our only hope.
It's like the opening scene of Three Musketeers with D'Artagnan like ending up in the three duels at the same time with the three musketeers.
And they warned him too. They warned him about those stairs. Well, I haven't thought about that in forever.
You know, sit around playing Bryan Adams' "All for Love." You know, just that was the song they made for the film
Now,
for
hold
the
on. There
one.
have been
Yeah,
multiple Three
yeah,
Musketeer films, just to be
yeah.
very clear.
Wait,
That
It's
would
been
that
many,
would be
many
like
years since I've
it.
seen any of them.
That would be like if I said that Romeo and Juliet movie, and I was specifically only referring to the weird ass Leonardo DiCaprio
The Baz, the
2000s
Baz,
one.
the Baz
Oh
Luhrmann one.
God,
No,
that
that
one. Oh
was the
my
best one, but
God.
it's certainly not the only one that's ever been made.
okay, I have a thought because I don't know why I found that whole thing so entertaining. Could I spend fate to try to adjust those roles for those
Oh
kids?
my God. I'll let you re-roll and try for 100s again.
That's amazing. That is
I
amazing.
can't just spend a fate to have the hand of the emperor reach out and say,
No.
"This is happening."
They literally are fateless children. They can't be affected by fate because they have no souls.
Fair enough. Well, that's a much better role.
But none of them are 100s.
Oh well.
Pray to the Emperor as you like. You still cannot tip your thumb onto the scales of justice. You're just going to have to find more genetically compatible sisters to have intercourse with in order to create void babies. Soulless abominations. And they got to have that correct combination of XY chromosome to be a sister.
Oh no. Finally get that 100 and be like, "Yep, you rolled wrong on a 1d2."
Congratulations, you've got a son. He's just like you. Are we good for next week?
I am so far.
Yeah, at this point.
Let's see, next week is the 16th. Nope, 17th. I don't know when exactly we're going to start our holiday season. It usually starts the week before or the weekend before Thanksgiving, so I may end up working, well, I probably will be working either a Saturday or Sunday each week, so I'll let you guys know as soon as I find out.
Okay. Closing thoughts before we wrap up here.
Can't wait to murder more mutants.
Welcome to part 1 of the Darkholds. We'll see you in the next episode.
Yep.